getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one of Jon and Jim. We are getting you ready for Padres baseball in less than 2 hours. Kevin Acee joins us at 3. Then we'll get you ready for this week's NFL draft in the 4 o'clock hour. Cynthia Frelund, friend of the show, NFL Network. She should have been our friend of the show rankings last week. Cynthia Frelund back with us. She will join us coming up at 4:30. We are back with you. We'll hear from Mike Schill. The news, as Jim told you, is Luis Arraez is on the 7-day concussion IL. Mason McCoy has been activated. They are the walking wounded. We'll see how long they can survive in this version of themselves. I mean, they don't look anything like they looked on opening day, yet they're winning, Jim. They're 16-6. We'll get into what happened yesterday with Luis Arraez, but obviously Arraez out of this lineup. Jackson Merrill's been out of the lineup. Jay Cronenworth is out. Shoot, I think since we were on the air, Jason Hayward maybe went on the IL or did in the last couple of days.
He did.
They've been down a good portion of their position players 3 weeks into the season, but they are 16-6, and none of this is like season-ending stuff. So they're just going to have to like survive in advance over the next week or so.
Yeah, just weather the storm, get through this. I would say let's just go 2 weeks before everybody's back.
It feels like that. I would agree with that.
Right, 2 weeks. In that 2 weeks, there's what, say 12 games or so?
Dude, they're off Thursday, Monday, Thursday coming up.
Oh, that's right.
So they have a lot of off days. And this 7-day IL stint's only 6 games because they're off Thursday.
Only 6 games.
But I mean, that's not a big number out of 162.
No, it is not. And you rather have these things happen in the beginning of the year than the end of the year heading into hopefully a postseason run.
And that's if he comes back in 7 days, just like if Merrill after 10.
Yeah, and everything with this team, it's been precautionary and instead of coming back right when the 10-day IL's up, it's like, well, 2 weeks later, he's maybe going to be coming back soon. So let's just say 2 weeks, okay, for Merrill and Arraez. I don't know about Cronenworth just yet. I don't, because, bones take a while to heal.
But it could be.
It's
possible 2 to 3 weeks on Cronenworth.
So for argument's sake, let's just say that it's going to take about 2 weeks for those 3 players to return.
Mm-hmm.
Just weather the storm.
Yeah.
You're not asking for them to go, 8-2 in a stretch here. You're not asking for them to, win all these series. You would love to see them win these series. And that is kind of the mindset, is just win series. You just win series with your hot start. That's going to carry a long way. Right. But when I say weather the storm, I mean, look, if they go 500 in their next, say, 12 games, I think you'd take that, just knowing, okay, we have all these injuries. Let's try not to, lose too much ground here. We already have the best record in baseball. We are 16-6 on the year. Yeah, we just lost a series to the Astros, but if we win a series here in Detroit, 3-3 road trip, you take that every single time, especially with how well they're playing at home.
I agree with you. I mean, if they go 6-6 over the next 12, which by the way is a real schedule here. I mean, at Detroit's been good enough. You're not facing one of the best pitchers in baseball, though, in Tariq Skubal. Then you're home for Tampa, home for the Giants, back on the road, but you're taking on Pittsburgh in that upcoming series. I do think 6-6 is very doable, and hopefully they play better than that. But it's kind of crazy how these injuries have piled up. Sometimes they say things happen in threes. We're beyond 3 now with the Padres. The play yesterday with the Rise, and we're 24 hours beyond it, maybe at this point, or close to 24 hours beyond it. But we talked about this last night. I just thought it's a baseball play, unfortunately, or a sports freak play. You never want to see it, and everyone's concern was with the health of Luis Arraez. And once we found out he had been released from the hospital and was back in the clubhouse with his teammates, you were thankful that he was hopefully going to be all right. And this wasn't going to be anything of grave significance that could cost him weeks or months or even longer than that. I thought the play just happens, Jim. Like, it's one of those things that can happen over the course of a season in Major League Baseball. Bang, bang, truly, right? No pun intended. A true bang, bang play. And I know a lot of people took exception with Dubon. I didn't personally. We went through this yesterday. It was a huge topic of discussion last night. It was Sunday Night Baseball. A lot of people were watching, whether they were Padres fans or not. I just don't take exception with it. I understand the inherent risk of playing baseball, whether it's being in the batter's box, throwing a ball, or sometimes collisions in the field around the bases. This, to me, was something that is unavoidable, can happen, and thankfully wasn't worse.
So baseball's not a contact sport like football.
No,
So
not the same.
You don't see these types of collisions very often in baseball. I know there's been a couple collisions at first base over the weekend, and I saw this like mini outrage of, well, they got to make the bases bigger, like softball. They did. They
already did.
Yeah. So when you see a play like that yesterday, because you don't see it often in the sport, you're so shocked by it. You're like, oh my gosh, what happened? You don't see collisions like that in the game anymore. You used to, maybe back in the day, especially at second base and at home, right? The first thing that comes to mind is, Ray Fosse taking it from Pete Rose. You're like,
all-star game.
Yeah. You're like, whoa, okay. And then the Buster Posey thing, and then they became the Buster rule. But you don't see many collisions like that where a guy gets knocked out, hit on the chin in like the perfect spot.
Correct. Guy
gets knocked out. So because of that, you're going to see some pretty wild overreactions to it. Like we have to remember, like this is a sport. It's just things like this can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Players aren't subject to running into each other. Okay. And the play itself, watching it in real time, not once did I think, I can't believe Mauricio Dubon didn't, magically stop his momentum and get out of the way from Luis Arraez. My first thought, honestly, was, oh my gosh, I hope Arraez is okay.
And I felt the exact same way.
Like that, I don't see how you could think any other way. I mean, there were takes online of they should stop the game for this. No. There were takes from people saying that they should retaliate. No.
For what? Baseball?
Yeah. And there were.
Or how about Dubon lowered his shoulder?
Yeah.
No, he did. What are you talking about?
This
was a split second. He got run into.
Yeah. There were very conveniently posted pictures of freeze frame of Mauricio Dubon saying, I can't believe he didn't angle his body a certain way. You guys, it was a bang, bang play. All right. Watch it in real time. And I want you then to think, put yourself in Mauricio Dubon's position. All right. Do you think he's thinking in that split second, I got to turn myself a certain way to stop my momentum? And maybe I should have done this and do that. Did he do everything right? No, he didn't. But also, guess what? Momentum. Like, have you heard of like the law of gravity? So his momentum took him to exactly where Luis Arraez was, and they collided.
I don't think he did anything wrong. I think if you play that exact play out 100 times, you're going to get the same result 100 times. Like, he's trying to make a play first. Arraez, to his credit, is getting down that line. It's a drag bunt, not for a sacrifice, but for a hit. He's booking it down the line. Dubon never sees him because he's busy covering first and keeping his eye on the baseball. And things happen. It's called an accident. It can happen in life. Cars crash. There can be accidents. It just occurs sometimes. It's just a fact of the matter. It's not the last time we'll see it, by the way.
No.
Hopefully it's the last time we see it with a Padre. And by the way, there are times we see it, Jim, and the reason we don't react to it this strongly is we don't see a player get knocked out when it happens. We see players collide. We see Freddie Freeman go down. We see Fernando Tatis Jr. and Anthony Rizzo that was brought up to us a couple of years ago when he was with the Yankees. It happens all the time. To that extent, of course not. Just like we see tackles in football all the time. Some of them are worse than others. Now, football obviously is different. But, I don't think it's worth overreacting to. I think the good news is, let's hear from Mike Schill. This was Mike Schill postgame. The good news is, if you had only watched this in real time and never heard what had happened to Luis Arraez, you might think he might not play again this year.
Correct.
But this is what Mike Schill had to say postgame. We've now learned that he's going on the 7-day concussion IL.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario with Luis, obviously very scary. We think he's, for the most part, out of the woods. More time will tell. But, the initial testing is very favorable. No fractures of any sort. I mean, he got a little bit of laceration on his jawline, so worried about his jaw, worried about clearly his cervical region. Everything clear, stable on the initial testing. We've been burned before on testing, so we'll be cautiously optimistic. He did have a period where he wasn't aware where he was, so that's clearly concerning. But everything's coming back to him now, and his initial testing from a concussion standpoint is favorable. But clearly we're not in the woods, and but it all things considered, it's a blessing.
Was that period not knowing where he was that while on the field?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you knew he was going on the 7-day IL. They're not going to take chances. They're probably required to do it, Jim. If he said he didn't know where he was, they're probably required to do it. And when Schultz said that, by the way, last night, I didn't think he was saying, hey, it's best case scenario he's back in the lineup tomorrow. I thought he was saying, hey, 7-day concussion IL is a lot better than alternatives of like broken jaws or broken shoulders. Yeah. That's what I thought he was saying. So I was completely expecting the 7-day IL today, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it could have been way worse. You know, when he gets hit there in his jaw, he gets knocked out. You're thinking like, yeah, broken jaw.
Broken jaw is a bad injury.
Yeah, dude,
it's a really bad injury.
It is. Now I don't know if that would cost him like the season.
No, I don't think it would cost him a season
because you could create like a special helmet for him to wear. You know,
but more time. It would have cost him more time.
Oh, easily. Yeah, because then that just the severity of a broken jaw. Who knows? Yeah. So if you're walking away here with a just potential concussion, we don't even know if it is a true concussion. He's in protocol.
Not knowing where he was is a little concerning.
Yeah. And so you're just thankful that it wasn't anything more serious. And to see him back in the clubhouse, you know, after the game ended, that's just a great sign. Cool. And thankfully they didn't stop yesterday's game because they won. So there you go.
Yeah, no, listen, all things considered, there's two conversations going on at the same time. You've got this Padres team that's playing better than everyone expected. Nobody said 16-6 to start the year. That wasn't what we were expecting. They've exceeded expectations.
Oh, yeah.
But they're dealing with as many injuries as you can possibly deal with. Now, it's not October, thankfully. So hopefully they're not dealing with this in October. But can you play like this moving forward? And hopefully it's shorter the period of time they're without these players than longer, because if this goes on for weeks on end, it is going to be a concern for the Padres, even with their 16-6 start. We'll hear more from Mike Schild on the other side. MLB Network Radio, he was talking about the injury to Luis Arraez. Plus, we've got the lineup we'll share with you. Kevin Acee will join us from Detroit, where the Padres and Tigers will get underway in their series at 3:40 here this afternoon Pacific. Cynthia Frelund on the draft that kicks off in 3 days from the NFL Network. She'll join us at 4:30. Don't go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim. All right, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with the Bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Kevin Acee from Detroit at 3 p.m. Fernando Tatis Jr., you may have missed in the update because Jim didn't mention it. He's been named the National League Player of the Week. He's played well. I don't know if you've noticed that, Jim, but he's off to an unbelievable start.
Decent
by
start.
his standards.
Decent
We'll get into that coming up later this hour. There's more from Mike Schill. Do we have the lineup for tonight? Because the lineup is truly a one-of-one. A one-of-one lineup tonight for the Padres, who are without Luis Arraez. The move is Mason McCoy.
Yes.
Listen to the lineup tonight for the Padres in Detroit.
Fernando Tatis Jr. leading off. Gavin Sheets hitting second, playing first base.
Yep.
Manny Machado hitting third at third base. Xander Bogaerts is your cleanup hitter at short. Tirso Ornelas is in left. Oscar Gonzalez is your DH tonight. Jose Iglesias at second. Your boy Tyler Wade's in center, and Martin Maldonado behind the plate.
If anyone would have said a lineup that was that 45 days ago, you would have won $1 billion. It wouldn't have been possible.
No.
Name any combination of players and put them 1 through 9 for the Padres on this date. You could add 100 million guesses and not put that lineup together with position. It would have been impossible to do.
I think the only player in that lineup in spring training, because in spring training, we didn't think Tatis was going to be the leadoff
We
hitter.
didn't.
But the only player in that lineup that we could have guessed was Manny Machado.
Absolutely.
That's it. Everybody else,
Where's Bogaerts in that lineup?
cleanup.
Yeah.
No shot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the guy can't drive in a run if his life depended on it. So cleanup hitter? No. Tatis leading off? Didn't think that in spring
Gavin
training.
Sheets, give me a break. We didn't know if he'd be on the opening day roster.
Maybe Martin Maldonado is your 9 hitter.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that was possible.
So other than that, other than Manny hitting third and Martin Maldonado is your 9 hitter,
You couldn't put that together.
It would have taken me a while.
You can't put that
It would have
together.
taken me probably forever.
Let's hear more from Mike Schultz. So again, Luis Arraez has been placed on this 7-day concussion IL. That does not mean he's off in 7 days. He could be off as soon as 7 days, but
Right.
he could stay on as long as necessary to come back from this concussion protocol. This was Mike Schultz earlier today, an update on Luis Arraez following that collision. This was on MLB Network Radio.
I just texted with him. He stayed back, understandably, in Houston and woke up, and as you would expect, sore. But all things considered, we don't usually see that kind of collision in our sport, and clearly, very, very scary. Sounds like, at least to this point, he's coming out as about as good as be expected. Clearly sore, but nothing from an imaging standpoint to this point is showing anything that is overly alarming. He did have a little bit of lack of recollection, short term of what, kind of took place, all of it coming back to him. Rightfully, there's concussion protocols but he's alert and going through testing and, like I said, text with him today, and what a warrior this guy is, man. This guy's got a heart of a champion, and, it sounds like, long term, from his health standpoint, he's going to be okay. So we're very grateful and keep our prayers for him.
Yeah, that's certainly good news. Is there a chance that he'll fly to Detroit today, or does that seem unlikely at this point?
I think that's unlikely. Understandably, anything that happens, in the head area is something that's going to be taken very seriously, and so we're going to get tested today some more and evaluated, and we'll just see how it goes from there.
Yeah, it's tough because when you put someone on a 7-day IL, I think there's these assumptions when players go on ILs based on the length of the IL stint. They're like, oh, Merrill 10-day, so it's 10-day injury, or concussion protocol 7 days, 7-day injury. Maybe, to your point from earlier, 15 minutes ago, they've been cautious. To their credit, they're 16-6. They don't need to have these players immediately when they're eligible. But man, head injuries like hamstring, there's no real timetable. Someone could tell me, yeah, you're back from a concussion in 7 days. Another person could be back from a concussion weeks later, right?
I just hope that their initial imaging, which has so far had a really bad track record here,
Of like 0% success rate.
all of a sudden in like 2 days, they don't find like a fracture
broke
in
his
his
jaw.
So
Because he woke up sore
yeah,
per Schilt there, which makes sense. If I was leveled yesterday, I would have also woken up sore.
If I was running full speed into someone's forearm, I think I'd be sore the next day.
Yeah.
So you just hope that this time, at least, whatever imaging they have done on Luis Arraez actually is what the initial imaging showed, which is clean. He's good. And, worst case scenario is he may have a mild concussion. Even then, you're like, you got to be cautious with that because concussions, they're so tricky. And all of a sudden, in like a week, you could be like, "Whoa, what is this?"
And you can't guarantee that you can protect against another one because you play baseball, so you could be hit. But here's the other thing I was thinking when it came to the situation with Arraez. The difference between some of these other injuries are like everything looks good. No, it doesn't. He actually went to a hospital.
That's good. Yeah.
And at the hospital, I have to assume they looked to see if there were breaks. They probably could have done actual imaging like MRIs at a hospital. The stuff in Sacramento was like, we got like a guy
or like a shed over there with somebody in it.
Like he went to like Houston Presbyterian. Like if they can't, like they shouldn't miss a fractured jaw.
No,
at a hospital.
I feel like if you had a fractured jaw, it would be hurting much more than just being sore. Right?
And he was also speaking and laughing with teammates last night. You're not laughing and speaking with a fractured jaw. You wouldn't think.
No. And so like it looked really bad on initial view. You're like, this looks awful. But then like rewatching it again and again, you're like, all right, he got hit in the jaw in the exact right spot, knocked him out. Felt woozy for obviously, and they're going to be very cautious with it because you have to be. And they were, and hopefully this is just a 7-day thing and he's back by the time this IL stint, is over with and no concussion symptoms pop up out of nowhere. And you just hope he's okay. I know he had a post last night on Instagram saying that, I'm doing okay, essentially. And so you just hope he's back because, the team needs him. And I hope everything's okay with him.
I can't believe last night at the hospital, he whipped out Canva, put that nice graphic together with the quote. And I guess maybe someone put it together for him.
Canva?
Yeah. Didn't he put together something in like an image?
He just literally.
Or was it just text?
No, it was just an image. And then he wrote like.
Oh, yeah, whatever. I thought it was in Canva. I thought he was announcing like I'm entering the transfer portal.
No, it was so simple that even you could have done it, John.
It was in both English and Spanish, which I was impressed by.
Look, it's literally just a picture of him. That's what he did.
I guess he had that on his phone.
Yeah, probably.
I thought it was like an image. When they post the images with like, hey, I've announced my retirement and they put on like a nice backdrop.
No.
He didn't do that.
No, he did not do that.
Whatever. All right. Fernando Tatis Jr. is in the lineup, thankfully, because they have to have him there. He is playing unbelievably right now. He was essentially the reason why they won last night. His go-ahead game-winning home run in a 3-2 win. Fernando Tatis Jr. and the pace he is on, we'll discuss on the other side. Plus, Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, at 3 p.m. Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network. We're 3 days out from round 1 of the NFL Draft. She'll join us at 4:30. Stay with us, Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by the San Diego Mojo. We'll start with the Padres. They put Luis Arraez on the 7-day IL today. He is in concussion protocol. Mason McCoy has been recalled to the active roster. Padres start a 3-game series with the Tigers tonight. 3:40 first pitch. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. And NBA playoff action later today. Pistons and Knicks game 2 in New York. Knicks have a 1-0 series lead there. Nuggets Clippers game 2 of that series at 7 p.m. in Denver. Nuggets hold a 1-0 series lead in that one. Get ready to serve up some excitement. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Pause. And Fernando Tatis Jr. named Player of the Week in baseball. Get ready to serve up some excitement with Major League Volleyball. Your San Diego Mojo are here at Viejas Arena so you can get close to all the volleyball action. Get tickets starting at $15 at letsgomojo.com. That's letsgomojo.com.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee in 30 minutes from Detroit, where the Padres and Tigers will play game 1 of a 3-game series. Randy Vasquez on the mound for San Diego. He will not hit for himself, although they probably would use him with all these injuries to position players. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. But whatever. Who cares? So Fernando Tatis Jr., homers yesterday. He's hit 8. He's the National League Player of the Week. Well-deserved. And the pace he's on is just ridiculous. And the numbers just jump off the page. There's a zillion you could get into. He's pacing for a 50-50 season. It's been done. I don't know if you remember. But I guess the question for me is 40-40 within the realm of possibility for Fernando Tatis Jr.? He certainly, we've said this before, if he stays healthy, he's going to hit 40 home runs. I'd be shocked if he didn't hit 40 home runs if he stayed healthy. Will they let him run like that all year long? I don't know, but he's a legit MVP candidate. I know that. I don't know what the numbers are going to look like, but he's a legitimate MVP candidate, having the best start to any season of his career.
He's been incredible. He has been absolutely incredible. He has put the team on his back. Yesterday was a performance from Fernando Tatis that if he does end up winning the MVP this year and he stays healthy, you're going to see some highlights from yesterday's game on his MVP reel. Defensively, offensively, he hit the game-winning home run. He made a couple fantastic plays in right field. The triple, scored all 3 runs in the game yesterday. He's just been fantastic. He has been absolutely fantastic. And I think the part of his game that you're most impressed with, at least for me, is the plate discipline. It's the fact that he is just not chasing and he's not striking out at the rate that he used to strike out at. He's hitting for a high average. His on-base percentage is through the roof. We know he can slug, right? We know that he has power, obviously, but his on-base percentage, his discipline at the plate, his strikeout rate gone way down. That to me is the most impressive part of his game, and it's like everything else is just blossoming because of it.
You know what his WAR was last year?
His WAR last year, John, I'm going to say was 3-ish. 3.
Just give me an exact,
3.5.
You know what his WAR is this year?
It's already in the 2s.
Yeah, 2-1. It was 2-6 last year. He's basically been that player. Yeah. Think about that. In 20 games, he's had a similar impact as he had on the 2024 Padres, which were an outstanding team. Now, remember, a lot of the run the Padres made was without Tatis last year in the second half of the year when he was dealing with that leg fracture. So he only played 102 games last year. He had an 833 OPS last year, which is good for a major league player, but it isn't what he's doing right now, which is jumping off the page 1128, absurdly gaudy. And I think we said this before, to truly win the National League MVP, you got to outperform a player like Shohei Ohtani. And Fernando Tatis Jr. is capable of being that guy. You can't be comparable to Ohtani if you're Tatis. You're going to have to outperform a player like Ohtani. And again, he's not going to do this all year. He's not hitting 358 with an 1128 OPS, I don't think. I would take it. But even if he dips off, that's the point. He's pacing for 50-50. He can dip off, hit 40 home runs, and have a 1,000 OPS and hit 300 and be in that conversation.
Did you see what Buster Olney tweeted out?
I did. Prior to Sunday Night Baseball or after?
No, it was this morning.
Maybe. What did he say?
This morning. Now, it's a link to a podcast episode talking about this. But he said it was about Fernando Tatis Jr., saying it's extremely rare to see a major league hitter improve significantly in plate discipline.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what Tatis is doing. And it all stems from an offseason conversation with his father, who asked him, quote, "Do you think you're a good hitter?" Tatis then answered, "Yes." Fernando Tatis Sr. said, "No, you're not." And that sparked the, offseason of how to become a better hitter at the plate and have your plate discipline not be like it was in the past, and instead be a guy that is not chasing, that is not striking out a lot. And that's exactly what Tatis is doing right now.
100%, like pitching and throwing. There's guys that throw hard. I saw a zillion of them in the minor leagues, but they couldn't harness it, or they didn't know how to, like pitch selection, right? There's one thing to throw hard. It's one thing to have an amazing skill set. There's guys that can hit for power and BP. There's 4 p.m. hitters. There's 7 p.m. hitters.
Yep.
So Tatis has always been a 7 p.m. hitter, but to become well-rounded hitter, he's become the well-rounded hitter now. He's always been a slugger. Now he's like a true all-tools hitter because he can draw walks. His walk-to-strikeout ratio right now of 12-12 is absurd. 12 strikeouts, 12 walks for a guy that's slugging like this is basically unbelievable. And I don't know if he's going to do it all year or not. And maybe there are going to be stretches where he does chase. Right now, he's not chasing. He's able to see more pitches. He's staying alive. He's drawing walks, which you have to do as a leadoff hitter. And he's as good of a hitter as there is in baseball right now. And if that continues, look out. It's a huge, huge win for Tatis and the Padres.
Yeah, it's not a prerequisite that you have to draw a bunch of walks if you're a leadoff hitter.
But it would be nice, though.
Yeah, it would be nice. But what is getting on base.
Yeah.
That is something that if you're a leadoff hitter, you're going to have to get on base. Just kind of, non-negotiable here.
Right.
And by changing his approach, and he's probably not going to lead the league in walks. What does he have right now?
No, it's 12 in 20 games, which is solid.
Very solid. And he has less than 12 strikeouts on the year.
It's 12.
Oh,
12 and 12,
okay.
yeah.
Last time I checked, I think it was less, but yeah, 12 and 12. And he's probably not going to lead the league in walks, but if you cut down on the strikeouts, which he absolutely has, his average is through the roof. He can definitely be a 300+ hitter this year if he keeps this up and stays healthy. Yeah. It's just really fun to watch because you over the course of his 7 years in the bigs, you just haven't seen him be healthy. Like every year there's been a problem. Every single year there has been a problem. And can this be the year where there's not a problem? That'd be great.
Right.
And in turn, the team winning, him playing well, him playing at this level. But, put both those things together is just the best combination you could have.
The day he debuted, or the season he debuted, we saw something that made us say we think he's going to be a National League MVP and potentially a multi-time NL MVP. And now he's been sidetracked and derailed by suspension and injury. Right. But here we are, full circle as a 26-year-old, and he's the player we saw 6 or 7 years ago, those flashes that we've seen, and now he's put it all together. And I still believe this guy's going to be a National League MVP. Mm-hmm. And I think he has a chance to be a multi-time MVP. And that's not going to be easy to do, but the numbers speak for themselves. And if the team plays well, that's only helping. If this is a 95-win team, yes, you can win MVPs with 78 wins. Look at Mike Trout. Look at Shohei Ohtani. But it's not the preferred way to win an MVP. And I don't think Tatis gets any benefit of any doubt from writers, would be my guess. So he's got to go win it. Yeah. He can't get close to winning it. He's got to go win it definitively to go capture it. But why not Fernando Tatis Jr. as a 26-year-old? Other than health, you're 100% right. If he stays on the field, he's my front runner to win it in 2025.
So just listen to his rankings in the National League right now.
Okay.
All right. He leads the National League in average at 358. He leads the National League and all of baseball in home runs at 8. RBI, from a leadoff hitter, you're not going to rack up a bunch of RBI, but still, 16 RBI on the year, 8 home runs, stolen bases. John, he has 7 stolen bases on the year. That's tied for 4th in the National League. Runs, he has 22. That's 2nd in the National League. His slugging percentage is 2nd to Pete Alonso at 691 in the National League. His on-base percentage is 3rd at 436 in the National League. His OPS is only 2nd to Pete Alonso at 1,127. So he is doing everything that you ask of a leadoff hitter. And oh, by the way, he's third in the National League in total hits with 29. So
that's the benefit also of leading off.
That is too. You get more at bats
over the course of the season.
Yeah.
You know, another 20, 30 plate appearances.
But he is either first, second, or third in like all major statistical categories in the National League so far this year.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. He really has. They're going to need more of him over the next week with, again, Merrill's still out, with Arraez now out, with Cronenworth still out. Like, I'm cool with Fernando Tatis Jr. putting the team on his back. He doesn't need to be anyone else because he's already proven that he's more than good enough to help this team win. And last night is the perfect example where Houston comes back, ties the score off Dylan Cease. They now essentially have the momentum. They're at home. They're going for a sweep, and Tatis takes matters into his own hands and homers over the left center field wall. He hit it like 430 or 440 feet. Yeah. He's hit 6 home runs this year for 400 feet.
It was a laser,
which is the most in baseball as well. Mm-hmm. And so he's been awesome.
And with all these injuries to this team now, he is in a, like, cannot afford him to get injured at this point in time. We talked about this last night on the wrap-up show. There are right now 5 players on this team while this team is weathering this storm. And frankly, if you want to say for the rest of the season, absolutely. You cannot get injured. Mm-hmm. They have to stay healthy. That is the top 3 in your rotation, King, Cease, and Pivetta. That's Manny, that's Tatis. And I think once Merrill comes back in the fold, I would put Merrill in that conversation as well. Like, you got to stay healthy. Hopefully you do. And hopefully that hamstring injury doesn't become a nagging thing. Because if those 6 guys stay healthy for the majority of the season, and you can miss a couple days here and there, off days, right? Rest days, maybe, whatever. I feel like they have a really good shot to keep this thing going. Maybe not to this clip, but keep this thing going and be one of the better teams in the National League and absolutely make the postseason.
I completely agree with you. I do. All right, we'll hear from Mike Shildt again on the other side. We have his pregame conversation from Detroit as we're an hour out from the Padres and the Tigers. Then Kevin Acee will join us at 3 p.m. Cynthia Frelund, round 1 of the NFL draft, 3 days away from Green Bay, Wisconsin. She'll join us coming up at 4:30. This is Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim, Kevin Acee will join us in less than 15 minutes from Detroit. We remind you to download the all-new iHeartRadio app, and when you do it, put San Diego Sports 760 as your number one preset. You can listen to this show live. You can also put Jon and Jim in your presets to listen to any portion of the show on demand, any interview as well, including our conversation coming up with Kevin at 3 p.m.
Hi.
How are you? Padres Tigers in less than an hour. They got in. Kevin wrote about this last night. This has become a rarity in baseball. The overnight travel basically only happens when you play Sunday Night Baseball. Almost every getaway day is a day game now in Major League Baseball. Wednesdays and then Sundays are always day games except Sunday Night Baseball. Now, they weren't traveling across the country from Houston to Detroit, but it also wasn't like a 10-minute flight. So by the time they left Houston, it was a very long game because of the injury and other things. By the time they left Houston and got to Detroit and their hotel, they were expected to be in the rooms around 4 a.m. and then play again tonight, 6:40 local in Detroit. That's part of baseball. It always has been. They've taken a lot of that out. Sometimes they say it impacts you more the second day than the first, but the Padres shorthanded off traveling overnight are going to take on a Tigers team tonight in game one of a 3-game series.
Like, the more I look at this lineup, the more you think, how is this team 16-6 on the year?
They didn't do it with that lineup.
No, they did not. You are correct about that. They started the year, pretty healthy until Jackson Merrill got injured in Chicago, and then Jake Cronenworth, got a fractured rib. So you're right, but that this lineup here, if they can just, like I said, weather that storm, and if they happen to take 2 or 3 in Detroit with this lineup, I know they're not facing Skubal at all, which is good,
or Casey Mize
as well, but still, looking at the lineup, you're like, whoa, okay, all right, here we go, because this is a 100% like spring training type of lineup.
You take 2 out of 3 here, and they should extend Mike Schultz.
Yeah.
Okay. If you take 2 out of 3 here, but it's of course within the realm of possibility. They're not taking on like the 27 Yankees. They're taking on the Tigers. So we'll see if they can win this series or not. It's not like their season is on the line here tonight either. Let's hear from Schilt. This is the pregame scrum with more of an update on Luis Arraez.
I can, and it's overall very favorable relative to how scary that looked and was. Was able to celebrate at the very end, came in afterwards with his teammates, alert. So that was good for everybody's spirits, mostly Luis, of course. Woke up, slept well, as you would expect, had some stiffness in his neck, but nothing cognitively is anything that we're overly concerned about. He is going to go, rightfully so, in concussion protocol. More testing going to be done. Hopefully it's more out of caution than necessity, but he's sore today, as you would expect. Nothing structurally, it's from the jawline. He did have a little cut on his jaw, but nothing there cervically is showing up with any real concern. Again, more tests will happen, who knows, but at the moment, it's kind of the best case scenario for Luis. He's going to head back to San Diego today, and guy's got the heart of a champion.
So he goes back to San Diego, more tests will be done, or at what point might he be able to resume some baseball activities?
Well, he goes in the concussion protocol. It's going to be a week, so that's starts today. As far as baseball activity goes, he's just got through playing, so it won't take him long to get back. But it's too early to tell exactly when baseball activity will take place. We'll get through the testing, make sure cognitively he's okay still, has range of motion, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds like a best case scenario considering everything except that.
Yeah, quite. Prayers were answered, and so it's as good as we could possibly expect. So,
some good news for Fernando today, player of the week, and certainly earned it.
More than earned it. That's put together a showcase week that he's very capable of putting together a lot of, and it's fun to watch him play. Clearly, the swing last night to get us the lead was great, but the base running to round third, have us head up and score there. He scored 3 runs, and the play made in the 6th, a sliding play, throwing in the middle of a slide with accuracy and velocity is, quite frankly, one of the best baseball plays I've seen. So, well deserved for Fernando.
How important important has Randy been to this rotation? How impressive has he been, especially in controlling the slug? It seems like he's really made some impressive changes so far this season.
He's done a great job. He's got the first hitter out of most innings, which has been big for him. He's had softer contact, so your point about controlling the slug. Cutter's been good. Sweeper's been good. He's been pitching. He's been throwing mostly strikes, and he's been able to get guys off the barrel. So he's done a nice job for us.
Obviously, you don't want any injuries, but your injuries have come to your left-handed bats for the most part. What kind of challenges has that presented in terms of lineup construction and making sure you're still balanced?
We're trying to create the balance, create the matchups. It's a game of to some degree matchups, and Gavin Sheets has done a nice job. Tirso's going to get an opportunity. Wade's been getting his opportunities, taking advantage of it. Those lefties have been able to come in, and it's all about finding solutions that the winners do. So, we'll continue to put the best club out there. I love the club we've got, and we'll go compete.
How much is Gavin's, obviously he's got the slug, but his approach, kind of what you've seen this year, how much does that give you the confidence to put him in that spot?
A lot of confidence. He's got to take great at-bats. Righties, lefties, it's really not mattering. He had 4 quality at-bats yesterday, whole field. Missiles to right, balls to left, hit on the nose, driving the balls to the middle of the field. So, Gavin's done a great job. He's in a good place.
Everything sounds fine.
Everything sounds fine. Heart of a champ.
Winners find solutions. I don't think he said that, but
no, he did.
Okay, good. And that's what they're going to have to do over the next 6 days.
Yep. Gavin Sheets, Oscar Gonzalez, Tirso Ornelas, Jose Iglesias. These are the others that need to step up. And by the way, the big money players that are still in this lineup, Xander, Manny, Tatis. I have faith that Toddy and Manny are going to, keep doing what they're doing. The one guy in the lineup that has yet to really make an impact on this year, Xander Bogaerts. You're the cleanup hitter now for the next however long, couple weeks, right? You're going to have to produce, my guy. At some point, you're going to have to produce. I know he's on pace for literally 1 million doubles this year, but
also no RBIs.
When are you going to produce?
Yeah, here's what I would say. They've gotten nice production from these others. The Jose Iglesias is, the Oscar Gonzalez is. We'll see if Tirso Ornelas is that next guy to step up, but they have gotten the productivity. It's not like it just completely falls off the cliff and you've had these 4 stars and these 5 others and you've been so reliant on the stars, where Manny's been good and Tatis has been great. So that's been amazing. And you want to see that moving forward. I am confident that we could look up on a night like tonight and be like, wow, Tirso had 2 hits, or Iglesias had 3. And one of them was the most impactful hit of the night. And that's the reason why the Padres won the game. Again, on paper, it looks a little odd when Jackson Merrill's not in there, when Luis Arraez isn't in there. But that's where Mike Schilt, this is where he has had that special sauce. When the secondary players, the role players, the bench players, they have not just played, but they've performed for him over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, the one thing that Mike Schilt will never do is make excuses. He'll never say, well, our superstars aren't in the lineup, so we'll just see if we can win a couple games here and there before they get back. His mindset is next man up, the winners find solution line. It's just who's in the lineup? They got to perform.
What is the day of this year where Xander Bogaerts hits his first home run? Is it today?
Ooh.
Is it July 4th? Is it between today and July 4th? Because he's still seeking his first home run. That's your point. He's hit 8 doubles, which is a huge number.
It is.
He's only driven in 5, which is a terribly low number
for being in the
cleanup batter.
Yeah.
So when will he homer?
Yeah. What will happen first? He'll drive in double-digit runs, or he'll have a home run,
or the meteor.
Stay tuned. Or we find or the life on the other planet. Actually, we did find life on another planet.
We found life on other planets before Xander Bogaerts hits a home run.
That's actually true.
Now, again, we're working on the reverse jinx. I hope he hits 2 tonight. Whenever he hits 1, I hope he hits 2.
Hope he has a 4-for-4 night with 3 home runs and a double.
We'll see. All right, Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He will join us on the other side from Detroit. Probably sleep deprived for Kevin.
Yeah.
We traveled out early this morning. Padres and Tigers coming up at 3:40. Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network on the draft. She'll join us at 4:30. But Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, joins us next from Detroit. Jon and Jim.
Game 2 from New York. Knicks lead that series 1-0. Nuggets and Clippers, Game 2 of that series, tips off at 7 p.m. in Denver, with the Nuggets leading that series 1-0. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today. Nobody wills clients like they do.
All right, long 24 hours for Kevin as the team is now in Detroit after playing on Sunday Night Baseball again without Luis Arraez for concussion protocol. When we saw this play out in real time, we thought it could be potentially even worse. Who knew what had happened when he was stretchered off the field? So, Kevin, we always appreciate it as we're getting ready for this Padres-Tigers series to get underway in about 40 minutes. What was this experience like being in the building last night to watch something like that play out? That's something you could go years without seeing, and it was truly an unbelievable situation.
Yeah, it really was. It was one of those where the ballpark gets quiet. You see the concern by everyone, regardless of who it is, but especially, it's a guy like Luis. He's just a sweet man. He's just, that's the word for it. He's a sweet man. And he loves everybody, and everybody loves him. So that was like, it was. And you know what? We're going to talk about it, obviously. It's a pretty big blow for the Padres considering all the guys that they're down. But it really was the best case scenario because there was no doubt, really. I mean, the guy lost, he lost awareness of his surroundings. There really shouldn't have been any question that he was going to go on the IL. The only question was like, how bad was it going to be? And evidently it's not bad.
And that's the best news. Hopefully, nothing pops up here in the next week where you're like, concussion stuff. Because the concussions can be tricky, right? I mean, they are something that, Austin Nola dealt with previously, where you just, you're kind of getting kind of wonky and whatever. So hopefully he's okay there. A couple things here to go over, Kevin. Updates on, Jackson Merrill. What's the latest with him and his timetable?
Well, he and Brandon Lockridge are working out, obviously, no offense to Brandon, but Jackson Merrill's, one of the best players on the team, if not one of the best players in the league. So that's who we're concentrating on. And it is possible that he's back for, at the same time as Luis Arraez, which would be, they're off on Monday. So that would be Tuesday against the Giants. They're in town for a 2-game series before the team goes on the road. I think they're more realistically thinking that it would be, I think it's May 1st in Pittsburgh that Merrill could/should. I don't want to get the Padres in trouble. Everybody's on high alert about them and their injuries, but they're thinking that that's a good timeline for Jackson.
Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He's in Detroit. Padres and Tigers will get underway in about 40 minutes. Not that I guess it fully matters at this point because the play already transpired. But did anyone comment specifically on the play itself? There was so much chatter, Kevin, yesterday and last night on social media about Arraez and about Dubon and what transpired at first. Was there anyone from the Padres that commented on the play itself and whether someone was in the right or the wrong, or it's just a baseball play and it happens?
They said it was a baseball play. I mean, sometimes these things later, come out and it's like, but it was a baseball play. Yes, I watched it and I go, oh man, what was he doing stopping? It was such a, you don't know, you just don't know how that play is going to come down. And it was just so rare. And I don't think that there is anything that, I don't think there was anything that was untoward or that Dubon messed up. I mean, it was kind of a weird developing play. And you know what? Luis was charging down there on a sacrifice bunt. Like he was trying to beat it out too. I mean, so it was just a lot that happened on that play.
Yeah, it just, you watch it in real time. It's as bang play as it could get, and just a very unfortunate situation there. Thankfully, Fernando Tatis Jr. is playing baseball for this team because without him, who knows where they would be right now in the next couple of weeks. The level of his play, Kevin, what's impressed you the most about what he has done so far through the first 21 games?
complete discipline, forcing people to come in, and then you combine that with the fact that he's not missing when they do come in to him, then, that's the recipe when you're as talented as he is to have a really good 3 weeks. Here's what really impresses me. Now, I am prone to push back on social media, and I know what the purpose of social media is to like capture the moment, right? Mm-hmm. But everyone's talking about how great Fernando is and what his numbers project out to be, and I find that to be ridiculous because, there's 7 more of these 21 game periods to play. Like, everyone understands that, right? Like this season is so young, and it is incredible. It's the best start of his career through 21 games. That means there are 141 games to play. And it's like, come on, all right? Can we let this guy who has basically not made it through a season uninjured, can we let him play? Can we see what happens? I'm rooting for him. I'm the guy I'm one of the people who wrote in spring training, like, this looks real. Looks like he could be, the Fernando that he was supposed to be. But, can we just hold on? And guess what Fernando said today when he won the Player of the Week? This is just a step. And I was like, thank you. Thank you, Fernando. Because that's what's impressed me. This kid knows that he really, when you talk about $340 million, when you talk about statue contracts, when you talk about the fact that he thinks he's the best player in this league or one of the best players in this league, he knows he really hasn't done anything. So I love that that's his mindset.
Yeah, I just love where he is. I mean, yes, it's his play, but the fact that he's only struck out 12 times and where he is as a leadoff hitter, and he's just been so impactful and he's just been so consistent. But to your point, seasons are long. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. I was just thinking about this. So they have over a quarter of their 26-man roster on the IL, right? With Arraez, Merrill, Lockridge, Hayward, Cronenworth, Brian Hoeing, who we haven't seen yet. He would be on their active roster. Right. And Yu Darvish is 7. Am I missing anyone out of that 7?
Not if you don't count Sean Reynolds, who, I don't think you do, though he had a chance to make the roster.
So maybe 7.5. I mean,
so good. But we're good.
So, okay, considering that, what are we looking for over the next, 10 to 15 games? If you're a Padres fan, are you trying to tread water at this point? Because at some point, these injuries have to have some level of significance on overall play, don't they?
Yes, they do. And I've got a story coming out soon that, they're not going to deny that. But, it's funny, I was thinking, past managers that I've covered, and that's Bob Melvin, that goes back to Terry Collins, that goes back a long way. They would, and coaches too, and players, probably be a little more forthcoming, at least privately right now, about we're just treading water. We got to survive. We can, that's not, as you guys know, that's not how Mike Schild operates, right? They're going to be just fine.
That's what we were just talking about. Winners find solutions. That's Mike Schild's motto. And
guess what? He manifests it.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that they aren't very aware that those solutions are going to have to involve some, minor miracles too, right? If they're to continue to win at the clip that they have been. So it's a little bit of both. It's treading water, but not playing 500. They still think they can do better than that. But look, you can't lose this many guys and not be affected by it. Now, that doesn't mean you lose every game. You've got to find a way to take 1 here or take 2 here. That'd be huge. Take 2 here. And that's what they'll be focused on. And I think another story that I'm working on is that the way they play allows them to do that. Right? I was surprised the other day that they didn't score in the 10th inning after Iglesias leads off with a double. Was that the 10th? Was that the 9th? I don't know. But, because they find a way to make things happen. And that's something you can do with Mason McCoy if he gets in a game. That is something you can do with Oscar Gonzalez and Tyler Wade. You're not just waiting for, Juan Soto to hit a home run, which you didn't hit enough of when he was here. This team under Schilt and with these players and their buy-in makes things happen. And so I think that they're well suited to tread water. That doesn't mean that they're not hurting right now. They're hurting.
What's the saying, John? We don't apply pressure. We apply pressure. We don't feel it. Yes. Yeah. Something along those lines. Merrill. From Jackson Merrill. That's definitely how they operate. You mentioned, guys, not hitting home runs and Juan Soto, another guy that's here right now on this team. when does Xander Bogaerts get his first home run of the season?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, he was looking so good for a while, and crazy thing about Xander is even when he looks terrible, he gets an infield single. That's
It's
not what
true.
he's being paid $25 million for. So yeah, I just don't know. That's like one of those things that I guess, fortunately for him and fortunately for the Padres, going a little under the radar based on the fact that they're winning and all these other, interesting things are happening with the team. But man, I know why you're asking, and I don't know. It's one of the great conundrums on this team, right? Like, they had this guy, and he is a part of their core, and I still say they need him to be a part of their core, especially now, right? But like, man, and I can make all the excuses in the world for him, or I can point out to you that when he came back from injuries both years, the wrist in 23 and the shoulder last year, is one of the top 3 players on the team both years in OPS, average, slugging, everything. Like, but that's just not enough when you're making $25 million a year.
And it's not just about like, when's he going to hit his first home run? He's had 8 doubles, which is great. I just, would, if he had at the end of the year, Kevin, say like 41 doubles and 85 RBI, he could hit 9 home runs. I think everyone would be like satisfied with that year because it's a productive year. But that's the thing, is he's just not driving in runs. He's not, when opportunities are coming up for him to do some damage, he's just not doing what he's paid to do right now. And
you want to, so like, you should never think the other day Iglesias is on second, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Xander Bogaerts is up.
Right.
And you should be like, that's cool. Yeah, Xander Bogaerts. But instead you're going, Xander Bogaerts. Gosh, I wonder if you should pull Wade back out and bunt Iglesias over. Because like, is Xander Bogaerts really going to come through here?
Right.
Like, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows I'm a big Xander Bogaerts guy. But like there's no getting around. It's also my job to say, like, this is not doing what 25 million. I hate that. I hate that we have to make money a thing, but it is. It is. You get paid 25 mil for a reason.
And again, any one play, not to harp on it, it's not a Bogaerts bash session, but like even last night after the injury, he's batting in the first inning. He hits a ground ball double play back to the mound that they throw away. That's happened a couple times this year where you don't necessarily, feel the impact of what transpires in those spots. They actually scored a run in that inning. Later, there was that whole mishap at third base as well with Bogaerts. But listen, to your point on Tatis on it being a long year, same thing with Bogaerts. Yep. And I really do believe that, to your point, he's going to need to play well for them to get to where they want to get. There's no way.
Look at his second half these 2 years, and that's what everyone tries to throw in my face, and I can't argue with them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, then pay him $12.5 million.
Just pay him for the second half. That's true. Kevin, appreciate it. Enjoy Detroit. What's the weather in Detroit?
It is, it was very pleasant in Houston, actually. I thought it was going to be terrible. It's just not bad. Guys, I've gotten like 1.5 hours sleep. I couldn't even tell you what it was like outside here.
Okay.
Life.
I'm just kind of like a zombie until tomorrow. I think it's nice.
All right. That's good. They'll play tonight.
The life of traveling on the road.
Yeah. Kevin, appreciate it.
Find solutions, boys.
There you go, right. Kevin.
Just right about winners' right solutions. Kevin, thank you.
Take care, guys.
All right, Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino and Resort. The Players' Place. We'll discuss more on the Padres getting ready for the Tigers on the other side. React to our conversation with Kevin. Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network will join us coming up at 4:30 with more in the NFL Draft that gets underway on Thursday. This is Jon and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with the Bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. You can listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Sacha Klestan spent a lot of time in Major League Soccer. He's now with MLS 360, and he's going to join us at 4 p.m. to talk about SDFC coming off that road loss in Charlotte. He'll join us at 4 p.m. Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network. The draft is 3 days away. Cynthia will join us coming up at 4:30. Kevin is going to write about what we're discussing, which is the fact that the Padres have 7 to 7.5 players from their 26-man roster right now in the IL. Less than a month into the year. That's about 29% of their 26-man roster. Again, Luis Arraez, Jackson Merrill, Jake Cronenworth, Brandon Lockridge, Jason Hayward, Brian Hoeing, Yu Darvish, even a Sean Reynolds if you want to throw him in. 7 out of 26, yet 16-6 overall.
Yeah, you'd rather be 16-6 with some injuries than obviously the other way around. And I think you just, like I said, can go 500 in the stretch that they're in and whatnot. You feel good. And Mike Schultz not going to sit there and be woe is me. He is.
No.
Gavin Sheets is hitting second in the lineup today, and Mike Schultz expects them to go out and win this ball game.
Yeah, exactly. He really does.
Yeah. I mean, I like that attitude a lot from Mike Schultz. I am a big, like, just get it done. Don't make excuses. And especially in professional sports, it's like, don't make excuses. Go get it done.
Play the hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
I mean, there was this line of conversation that's been discussed over the last couple of days about the Mariners GM maybe a year ago saying, hey, if we could just win 54% of our games, we'll be a playoff team. Mm-hmm. We are concentrating on winning 54% of the time, which is like completely contradictory to Mike Schultz, who wants to win every game. We all know that's not possible, but they never speak about let's win 54%. He talks about winning series, but that's a good formula, obviously, in Major League Baseball. But I don't know if they win 2 out of 3. And if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. This isn't their season. This isn't the wild card series against Detroit. You lose 2 out of 3. All right. You win 2 out of 3. All right. So the season's going to go on one way or the other. The big focus is their health moving forward, no matter what they do in Detroit. The big focus moving forward is their health.
It's the health. And can this depth withstand those injuries? Because if not, that's going to be a problem. It just is what we've talked about with this team all year long so far, is the fact that, hey, the depth of this team is something that concerns us.
Mm-hmm.
And can they withstand the injury bug here? And hopefully after a couple of these guys return, it's over with, and you're not dealing with constant injuries every other week, it feels like. Because last year's team was relatively healthy throughout the entire year. Yes, Joe Musgrove, and then Yu Darvish, he did leave for personal matters, and then Fernando Tatis Jr. missed a bunch of time. But by and large, Profar, Merrill, Manny, they all stayed.
Arraez, even with a thumb, played.
He did. Now Bogarts went out, but Don Solano was at that time better option than Xander.
Right.
So you didn't really miss him at all. And then Hassan Kim did get injured. So I mean, going over it now, you're like, oh, they actually did have a bunch of injuries last year, and they got through it. They did not have the starting pitching depth last year like they do this year.
It's honestly, the more this plays out under Mike Schultz, the more credit I want to give Mike Schultz. Like when I read you the list of position players that are active right now: Elias Diaz, Martin Maldonado, Yuli Gurriel, Jose Iglesias, Connor Joe, Mason McCoy, Oscar Gonzalez, Tirso Ornelas, Gavin Sheets, Tyler Wade. You keep that team above water. Now their pitching's been brilliant, as good as any in baseball.
Especially their bullpen.
Their bullpen's been lights out. They hold all leads. They win close games. So that's a good formula and combination. You don't have to score 10 runs. They were never going to score 10 runs every game, but I just read you, a lion's share of their position players. Yeah, I didn't mention Toddy or Manny or Bogey, but if they can continue to win with that roster, again, I'm giving more and more of the credit to Mike Schultz for somehow getting them to put this thing together as a team and win. It's really an amazing accomplishment if that continues. And it's not like I think they're going to go in the tank over the next 2 weeks. These guys are out. I don't, because I've been watching them, and that just hasn't happened under Mike Schultz.
And if they can continue to win games with this lineup, it's going to have to be on the backs of Manny and Tatis. It really is. Like when they are up in situations, if there's a runner on second or third or whatever, in big spots, like they're going to have to come through, because to expect that from the others, that is a tough ask.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that the others come through, and I hope the others step up, and I hope guys like Gavin Sheets and Jose Iglesias continue to play well, because they played great. They played great to start the season. But with Tirso and Oscar Gonzalez and Martin Maldonado and Connor Joes of the world and Tyler Wade and Xander, can they impact games? Can they, help this team win when their number is called, essentially when they're in situations that they have opportunities to help the team?
And again, we'll find out beginning tonight, game 1 of this 3-game series in Detroit between the Padres and the Tigers. And again, if there's any good news here, Padres won yesterday. They're not facing Tariq Skubal. They're not facing Casey Mize, who's gotten off to a terrific start this year. With the Tigers, it's the second straight year they haven't faced Skubal. As with the universal schedule, you're facing every team, but it's the second straight year they're not facing Tariq Skubal. So we'll see if the Padres can get more than a game in the series, get back home 3-3 on the road trip.
It's going to be funny if this team does make the postseason this year, which they're definitely,
hoping to do, expecting to do.
Obviously,
yeah.
I would love to look back on days like today on April 21st and be like, that lineup, that was an actual lineup from this year's team.
Right.
Because that's what you're saying right now about today's lineup. Like, oh my God, that lineup, like you mentioned at the top of the show, not in a million years could I have ever predicted on April 21st that being the lineup.
Never at all. Yeah, impossible to predict. But again, 16-6. More on tonight. Randy Vasquez with his sub-2 ERA on the mound tonight in the Motor City for the Padres against the Tigers with, again, first pitch about 15 minutes away. So we'll get you ready for that. We'll talk some SDFC at 4 p.m. with Sacha Klestan, who is now with MLS 360 and Apple TV. So he'll join us at 4. Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network, will join us at 4:30. We've got a giveaway for you coming up in the 4 o'clock hour as well. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by the County of San Diego Health and Human Service Agencies. We'll start with the Padres. First pitch against the Tigers, 3:40 this afternoon. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Luis Arraez, he has gone on the 7-day IL. He is in concussion protocol. Mason McCoy has been recalled to the active roster. NBA playoff action later this afternoon. Knicks and Pistons, game 2 in New York. Knicks lead the series 1-0. Nuggets and Clippers, game 2 in Denver. Nuggets lead that series 1-0 as well. Child Abuse Prevention Month is not just about raising awareness. It's about working together, making our community a safe and supportive place for kids. If you need resources, visit the County of San Diego Child and Family Wellbeing website and leave a comment.
All right, Jon and Jim, Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network gets us ready for round 1 of the draft, which will be Thursday night. Cynthia Frelund at 4:30. Sacha Klestan, longtime MLS player, now with MLS Season Pass, will join us at 4 p.m. with more on SDFC falling in Charlotte this past weekend at 3-0. If there's some good news here in this matchup against the Tigers, which will get underway in 10 or 15 minutes or whatever it is, Padres are facing 3 right-handed starters. They've been much better against right-handed starters, and they've also been without some left-handed bats, but they have been better against right-handed starters. Now you're down some real pieces, obviously with Arraez and Merrill, so we'll see if that continues or not. And they're going to see, what are the matchups? Do you have the pitching matchups in front of you by chance?
Yeah, I do, John.
Yeah.
How do you say his name? Kiter Montero?
Oh, tonight?
Tonight?
Let's just call him Montero.
Montero tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Flaherty's tomorrow. Jack Flaherty. That's a matchup that I'm looking forward to. Him and Manny.
Sinister
right?
Sling.
Yep, exactly. And then on what's today? Monday. Wednesday, Reese Olson. You know Reese Olson, right?
Of course, I know Reese Olson because he's going to throw Wednesday, and that's a day game, obviously. Yeah, 10 in the morning.
Yeah,
and that'll be opposite Kyle Hart. So for the Padres, the next 3 days, you have Vasquez, Pivetta, Hart.
Right.
You don't have Cease King. I mean, this isn't ideal, dude.
No.
I mean, let's be honest. We've talked about this like, 3-3 trip, 3-3 trip. Then easier said than done.
It is easier said than done. Randy Vasquez has been very solid for you this year. Very solid for you this year.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Hart on the road, it's been bad.
Yeah.
Been very bad on the road. Been very good at home. Very bad on the road. Nick Pivetta, kind of same story a little bit.
He's only made 1 road start. Is that right?
But it wasn't, it's not even as sharp as what he has done at home. Not even close.
No, at home he's been unhittable.
Right. He's been amazing at home.
Mm-hmm.
On the road, 1 start in Chicago, I want to say it was. He struggled.
Right.
He labored in that outing. So we'll see if tomorrow he can pitch more like the Nick Pivetta that pitches at Petco Park than on the road this year, albeit one time, but the one time that was in Chicago. So, yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like to ask for 2 out of 3 here, man. That's again, is it impossible? Of course not. But it just seems like maybe it's a larger ask than I expected heading into this road trip.
But the good thing is, like, they have had solid pitching, and they're not putting up 7-8 runs a game, especially with this lineup and this offense. But like yesterday, get 3 runs up there, have good pitching, let the bullpen take over, which was dominant last night. You can win ball games.
Even 2 days ago with Michael King, I mean, same thing. It's a 3-2 game you end up on the wrong side of, but you got a 2-0 lead in the 6th inning. Michael King had been just cruising for his last couple of outings and gets taken deep for a 2-run home run. But I'm going to take my chances every time with Michael King on the mound in a 2-run lead.
Absolutely.
He's going to hold it a lot. It didn't happen for whatever reason the other night. But you're right. I think in those 3-2 games, they're built to win those 3-2 games. And that's got to be the formula here in Detroit. We say that now. They're going to win a game 13-11 or lose a game 11-10.
Yeah, no, I don't expect them to put up, 9, 10, 11 runs tonight. But if it is a close game and they have the lead and say it's a 3-2 game in the 6th, guess what? Here comes the bullpen. And I would expect them to win that types of games going forward here.
Yeah,
they can do that.
To your point, so we've reached the point in the season where the whole bullpen has been great.
Oh,
This isn't like,
fantastic.
the high leverage guys have been great, which is
No.
awesome. You want to start there, but it's now like guys that I didn't know that, the whole bullpen was going to have sub 2 ERAs. I was hoping that the Jason Adams and the Robert Suarez's would have sub 2 ERAs. I didn't know the whole bullpen would have a sub 2.
Yeah, Jeremiah Estrada.
Yeah.
Alec Jacob yesterday.
I mean,
Yuki
Wandy Peralta's
Matsui,
been really
Wandy
good.
Peralta. They've been all just Adrian Morejon.
Right.
Like their bullpen is such a strength that if their bullpen was just average this year, like maybe a little above average, they would not be 16-6.
Not even close.
No.
They basically held the bullpen has basically held every lead.
Well, Robert Suarez is 9 for 9 in save opportunities this year.
He's 9 for 9.
Unless I'm missing something.
No,
He hasn't,
I know. I mean,
he hasn't given up a run this year.
Yeah, so it'd be hard to blow a save without allowing a run.
That would be correct, John. Unless it's in the
It's actually possible.
Unless it's in extras and the runner at second doesn't count.
How do you blow a save without allowing a run?
Extra innings, runners on second, you're on the road.
Or you come in with men on base.
That too.
But he's not going to do that. Because
No,
he's a closer.
he'll start the inning.
He's going to start an inning.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? The bullpen.
Well, he'll also, give you 4 outs potentially.
Yeah, he could. That's true. It is possible. The point is, it's not just Suarez. They've all held leads by and large, which is a huge reason. Honestly, the number one reason why they're 16-6 is their bullpen. If their bullpen was a disaster, this team would be like 500 or below.
They would be.
Because we've seen
10,
years like
10.
that before. We're like, oh my gosh, they can't hold leads. Look how many blown saves this team has had. That happens with someone across baseball every year, more than one team. Just bad bullpens. Chicago Cubs have been that team actually this year. Just bad bullpen. You blow leads. You just squander games. But that's not who the Padres have been, thankfully, this year.
Yeah, I would much if I'm choosing what to have first. Obviously, it's a lights out rotation.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not saying the offense isn't important. Obviously, it is. You got to score runs to win games. John, did you know that?
It's true. You do have to score runs to win.
But I tell you what, man, if you have a lights out bullpen, you can have these 3-2 games. Now, you can't have them all the time. You're going to need some games where you put some runs on the board, and you're going to need a team that can, score runs. Because if you can't score runs, that bullpen's not even going to be useful. But the bullpen, especially when you get to postseason play, give me a lights out bullpen.
So true.
Give me a lights out bullpen, and you feel pretty good about yourself.
I agree with that. By the way, the quote from Tatis that Kevin referenced earlier, Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, as Tatis has been awarded the NL Player of the Week for the first time this year. He said, those are the steps that you need to take a day at a time, a week at a time to achieve big things. So now he's talking with like perspective and hindsight and understanding. Year 7, Fernando, right? This isn't like year 2, Fernando Tatis. Like to say like, it's a great award, but it signifies a week of work, not a seasons of work. I'm all for hearing that.
What do you think Kevin meant by, I see all these things on social media of like projecting for Tatis? And
I think he meant exactly what he sees on social media. 50 home runs, 50 steals, 1,100 OPS, MVP awards. Right?
I don't know if Kevin realizes like, you got to just look at what you've seen so far. And so far what we've seen is MVP-like.
True. I mean, I'd be lying if I thought Tatis could replicate this for a year.
Oh, I don't believe
Do you agree with that?
Can. But what I do believe is if he is healthy, huge if he is healthy,
He can maybe get close.
I would be surprised if he doesn't put up 40 plus home runs.
Me too. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% with you. I feel like there'll be that natural, like you just get into a season and you're not always posting with the numbers. But if he hits less than 40 home runs and plays all year, I'd be like, what went wrong? He's hit all these 400-foot home runs.
Something happened.
Yeah, because he's hit 8. Like you start adding that up, like he's 20% of the way to 40 in 1/8 of the season.
He hit 7 last year in September leading into the postseason.
Right.
He hit 4 in the postseason.
I think that's right.
And now he's hit 8 to start this year.
Crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, completely crazy.
So whatever he found in his swing to you hope it continues, because he can be a guy that hits 40 plus, even close to 50 home runs. He really can.
He's moving up the all-time Padres home run list now. Again, it's not filled with guys that have hit hundreds of home runs, as we've talked about.
Where do you think when it's all said and done with these guys' careers, and again, that's a long ways from now, right?
Yeah.
Nate Colbert was on the top of that list for how long?
Decades,
dude.
Yeah.
It was like
50 years.
Like Darren's like white whales. Like, who's going to break Nate Colbert's
40 years.
home run record?
Okay.
When it's all said and done, where's Nate Colbert going to be on the list? Like 7th,
Hopefully.
6th?
I mean, here's what I would say. When it's all said and done, it shouldn't be close in terms of Tatis from everyone else.
Well, and Manny
shouldn't be close. Tatis and Manny shouldn't be close, wouldn't you say? Like, but that requires Tatis staying healthy, because we're going to see Tatis now as a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
And now Machado's going to do this all from age 32 on. I just feel like those 6 or 7 years, he should blow by him in his late 20s, early 30s as Machado ages out of his prime.
So I know it said 6, but there's only, to me, 3 guys that are going to pass. It's Merrill, Tatis, and Manny.
Yeah.
So,
but you're right. Yeah. But you're right. Like a generation from now, another 20 years.
I hope he's like 6, but
yeah,
for sure 4th.
Tatis is just give him the MVP
right now.
Yeah, he had a single.
Oh, he's single, perfect.
All right, we will update you on what's going on in Detroit as the Padres and Tigers will play here tonight to get their 3-game series underway. We've got a great couple of hours lined up for you, though. We're going to talk about San Diego FC with Sacha Klestan, longtime Major League Soccer player, will join us at 4 p.m. now with Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. And at 4:30, Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network will join the show as well. Cynthia Frelund on the draft that gets underway on Thursday will join us at 4:30. We're here until 6. This is Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it is Jon and Jim for the all-new Hamul Casino and Resort, the Players Place. They've got a great promotion tonight at Hamul, smashing Easter eggs all month long in April. Every Monday night, 10 winners every hour, 7, 8, 9 p.m. Your odds are better than ever. You can earn entries all month long by playing. Get 2 times the entries on Wednesdays with at least $500 cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $25,000. It's a promotion you're not going to want to miss.
Listen to this. At Loft 94, does this sound good? Sushi, ramen, and trivia.
Yes.
Yeah, sign me up. Tuesday through Thursday, you can join them for Sunset Trivia every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and compete for prizes at your favorite casino. Plus, enjoy 50% off classic sushi, nigiri, hand rolls, and any of their featured ramen bowls every Tuesday through Thursday. Now through May 23rd, exclusions do apply.
All right, we do have also endless dining 5 nights a week at Hamul. That includes Tony Gwynn's. They've gone over the top with crab, shrimp, dynamite salmon, and more. You're not going to want to miss the carving station for those who like a little turf with their surf at the all-new Hamul Casino and Resort, the Players Place. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. You know, we typically would get to Is That Good, the best and worst of the sports weekend here. I don't know if you want to do that.
I know, yes.
You do?
Well, we can.
We will. First things first. So this Padres-Tigers series that's going to be played in Detroit. And I get it's April. School's in session. It's a Monday night. You know, Tigers made the postseason last year, though. You know, it's not going to be hot tonight in Detroit by the time the sun goes down. But we're watching this game, Jim. And the issue is for the Tigers is they don't have anyone there. So, like, their fans aren't in the seats. Like a Padres game at Petco that has 40,000+ people. Where are the people in Detroit? This was this magical ride last September into the postseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's great baseball. No, it's great sports city, Detroit, Midwest. They love their sports, right? Well, I guess they love the Pistons in the playoffs because nobody's at the Tigers game.
That's a awful crowd.
Awful, man. How many people are there?
It's pathetic.
10,000? I haven't seen the full crowd shot yet.
I'll go with, yeah, right. I haven't seen the full crowd shot. Just,
12.
Behind the home plate, there's just nobody there. I'll say 13, 14,000.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Still, it's pretty bad.
Awful. Now, and again, it's not like this is a team that's 5-15, right?
No, like you said, they just came off an incredible, late push postseason run last year.
They're in first place in the American League Central, 13-9. That's a good record. But
and the Cy Young Award, and I was not pitching tonight.
Yeah. It is interesting, man, though. The more you spend time thinking on this, like, again, how good we now have it in San Diego, how good Padres fans have been. Again, Tigers have been good, and they're not drawing. So we'll see. Again, Padres are going to be back home, this weekend?
Yes, John, and they're facing the Tampa Bay Rays. It's a homecoming for Ha-Seong Kim, but not really because he's still injured.
Yeah, he's been hurt. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, coming up at 4 p.m., we'll talk about San Diego FC with Sacha Klestan. MLS season pass at 4:30. Cynthia Frelund NFL Network is on the show right now. Let's get to this.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell. That's a winner.
The good and bad from the sports weekend.
What do you want me to do?
What's your first? Is that good?
My first is over the weekend. The playoffs started in the NBA, John.
I do.
Yeah. Lakers, heavy favorites. Well, not heavy favorites, but everybody's pick.
Yeah.
To make a magical postseason run and win the NBA Finals with Luka on the team now. LeBron to get his 5th. Game 1 against the Timberwolves over the weekend. They lost by 22.
Right at home.
Is that good, Brent?
No, it's not good. Are you kidding me?
I'll go down that path with you. And I'll go to that Oklahoma City Memphis game 1. Okay.
Was that good?
In OKC. This wasn't a great game. Memphis lost by 51 points. They lost by 51 actual points, as in Oklahoma City scored 51 more points than them. 131-80 was the final. Is that good?
No, it's not good. Are you
good
kidding
for
me?
Oklahoma City, but not for Memphis. What if Memphis wins that series in 5?
They're not.
Okay. What else do you have?
Not a good weekend for SDFC. They got shut out in Charlotte, lost 3-0. Kind of snowballed on them. Andres Reyes got a red card there in the 43 minutes, so they were down a man for half of that game. Just kind of snowballed on them. They gave up a early 1-0 goal there in the 11th minute. But overall, back-to-back losses now. And hopefully they can turn the ship around here this weekend at home against Real Salt Lake.
Yeah.
But losing 3-0 to Charlotte over the weekend, Brent, is that good?
No, it's not good. Are you kidding me?
We'll talk more about that coming up. They've slipped into 6th place in the West. They're only 2 points ahead of 8th place right now in the Western Conference. How about Fernando Tatis Jr.? Already hit tonight, so he's hitting better than .358. He's got the highest on-base percentage, slugging percentage, most walks, most steals to start his career, 8 home runs. He's had the best start he's ever had to a season. He's the National League Player of the Week. Is that good?
It is good.
What do you have for your final one?
My final one, John. John Cena is a 17-time world champion as he beat Cody Rhodes last night in the main event of WrestleMania, and what will go down as one of the most, I guess, disappointing main events in WrestleMania history for the story.
I would agree with that.
For the story that was being told.
Because I've watched all 41.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't say it is the most disappointing, but it's one of. But he is a 17-time world champion now. Bern, is that good?
I'm glad you mentioned it because my takeaway from WrestleMania was Logan Paul, what he did to AJ Styles in that singles competition.
Oh, really? What was your biggest takeaway from that match?
Well, I think he continued to show why he's one of the fastest rising stars in WWE, Jim.
Oh, wow. What else?
Despite not being a full-time performer.
That's good.
I would say Randy Orton because of the speed in which he beat his mystery opponent, TNA World Champion Joe Henry.
What was your thoughts on the triple threat match?
Joe what?
Joe Henry. Joe Hendry.
Hendry.
What about your thoughts on the triple threat match of night one, John?
I thought the winner deserved it.
Really?
Over the other two. I didn't see 1 second.
Do you even know who the winner would be?
I had no clue. Was it good? Was it entertaining? Was it a good 2 nights of television?
I enjoyed it. Look, It wasn't WrestleMania 40. Now, WrestleMania 40.
Last year?
Yeah. Now, the main event of WrestleMania 40, probably going to be hard to top anytime soon.
What was the end result?
Cody Rhodes finished his story, taking down Roman Reigns in his 4-year run of WWE champion. That was that you're just not going to see that.
So they got to build it back up.
Yeah, it's like a soap opera. So there's new storylines every year, and there's a year-long build, and it all culminates at WrestleMania. And then tonight, the Raw after Mania starts a new chapter of new stories heading into WrestleMania 42.
Where's that?
That is in New Orleans, right, Brent?
Okay.
Yes.
New Orleans.
What's the next pay-per-view or big event?
Where is it? Not Bad Blood.
Backlash.
Backlash in St. Louis.
I thought we were going to get something in San Diego. Seriously, there was that rumored or report.
There's still a possibility, but I don't know when they're going to announce it. But that'd be awesome if it was in San Diego.
You would lose your mind.
It would be believe it'd be Survivor Series.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be until fall on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah. So what were we?
I thought Joe Henry looked good.
Joe Hendry?
Whatever. Or did he get beat?
That was a cool spot. Not gonna lie.
I don't know, man.
Do you believe in Joe Hendry, John?
Yeah, I do.
Wow, good job.
I don't know.
You know, if you say his name, he appears.
Where?
Exactly.
I'm looking around.
Yeah.
All right, Sacha Klestan. Let's touch base on what's going on right now with San Diego FC. Like Jim said, coming off a road loss at Charlotte, tough place to play, obviously. Coming back home to take on Salt Lake this upcoming weekend at Snapdragon Stadium. Then how about this? The draft gets underway in 3 days.
Oh.
Thursday night.
Must be nice.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. 250,000 people are expected. Obviously, tons of intrigue. The quarterbacks at the top, Ashton Genty, and more. Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network. She will join us coming up at 4:30 today. We also have a giveaway for you today, Jim. We're going to give away tickets to see the San Diego Mojo in the 4 o'clock hour. This will be May 3rd at Viejas Arena, San Diego's Major League Volleyball team. So we have a 4-pack of tickets to give away in the 4 o'clock hour to see the San Diego Mojo take on the Indy Ignite May 3rd at Viejas Arena. So we'll tell you how to win those tickets coming up. Cynthia Frelund will join us again at 4:30. But on the other side, STFC coming off a road loss. They've had 3 consecutive road losses. Sacha Klestan, MLS season pass, Apple TV, with more on that match and looking ahead to this weekend against Salt Lake. That'll kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim, and it's next.
All right, this update's brought to you by San Diego Injury Law Center. Padres and Tigers underway in Detroit. It's a 1-1 game in the bottom of the first inning. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Luis Arraez, he has gone on the 7-day IL. He's in concussion protocol. Mason McCoy has been recalled to the active roster. And NBA playoff action continues tonight in New York. Knicks and Pistons game 2, 4:30 tip-off time there, with the Knicks leading that series 1-0. The Nuggets and Clippers game 2 tips off at 7 p.m. in Denver, with the Nuggets leading that series 1-0. Injured in an accident, call San Diego Injury Law Center. Over 20 years of winning, over $100 million recovered. Call San Diego Injury Law Center at 619-338-8230. That's 619-338-8230.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
I guess the question for me is 40-40 within the realm of possibility for Fernando Tatis Jr.? He's certainly, we've said this before, if he stays healthy, he's going to hit 40 home runs. I'd be shocked if he didn't hit 40 home runs if he stayed healthy. Will they let him run like that all year long? I don't know, but he's a legit MVP candidate.
He has been absolutely incredible. He has put the team on his back.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim. We are here until 6 p.m. And we start the show talking about the Padres and the series with the Tigers, but also this past weekend, San Diego FC on the road falling in Charlotte 3-0. And here to talk about it, Sacha Klestan, who spent a lot of time in Major League Soccer, with us right now on Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and out of Southern California as well, Huntington Beach. And Sacha, I know you were talking about it this past weekend, how hard it is to play in Charlotte. So for our listeners that saw the result or watched the match or listened to it here on 760, again, SDFC falls 3-0, but take us through how much of a challenge it is taking on Charlotte, and thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, no worries. Hi, guys. Listen, Charlotte is the only team in MLS that has an absolute perfect record at home. 5 wins out of 5 going back to last season. I think the last time they lost at the bank, as they call it, was in August of last year. So one of the toughest places to go, very similar to what the LA Galaxy had last season as far as home field advantage. You just go into that place and you hope to maybe take 1 point, but nobody's taken 3 right now. So difficult result for San Diego. I think Mikey Veras learned a tough lesson that you want to rotate your lineup in a game like that. It's probably not going to end up all right, but I think he learned some stuff about his team.
And, you know, going into this match, I do feel like it was kind of a measuring stick. You know, the way that SDFC has played this year, you could say it's one of the biggest surprises in the league up to this point. And to go up against Charlotte on the road, measuring stick, but then to lose like that, to really, you know, I mean, in soccer terms, I guess get blown out, right? 3-0. How do you think they have to rebound here after this loss?
Well, listen, now is a big opportunity and a big part of their schedule that's actually going to determine where they're probably going to finish come playoff time. They have 5 of their next 6 at home. And if you want to be a good team in MLS, you got to take care of your games at home. You got to win a majority of your games at home and pick up those points. And I think of these next 5 at home, all of them are very winnable. When you talk about Salt Lake, Dallas, Colorado, Sporting Kansas City, LA Galaxy, those are all teams closer to the bottom of the Western Conference than the top. So they should be going into these games looking to build confidence and looking to get back to where they were, you know, a few weeks ago when they were winning games.
Sacha Klestan with us right now, again on MLS Season Pass, Apple TV Plus as well. SDFC coming off that loss to Charlotte. Overall, though, for an expansion franchise to get off to the start that they've gotten off to, what has impressed you most about the way they've played overall?
Well, I think the style of play has to be the most impressive. That they're entertaining us. They're playing a brave style of soccer, the beautiful game, you know, passing from front to back. But it's just a total commitment from back to front from everybody on the roster that they've bought into what Mikey Veras is preaching. And that's not easy to do when you've only been a club or been a team or a group of guys together for, 4 months now. So it's been very impressive the way that they have done it. I think to be sitting in 6th place in the Western Conference right now is a great start to the season. And I hope that they can continue to get better and maybe even add a few more players in the summertime to bring a little bit more quality to the attack.
Yeah, when you said bring more players to the team to help their attack, what type of players should they be looking for to bring in, and what do you think they need here going forward to help them take them over into the next step this year? Because right now they've been playing really well, but it feels like they just need something a little more.
Yeah, listen, I think we can add a few more pieces to outside back and to center back depth. I think the midfield is very good. I think the attack is good between Anders Dreyer and Chucky Lozano, but they are missing a big time number 9. That's a striker someone who can get you 15 goals per season. You probably got to pay big money for that. That's a designated player spot, but I think that's the piece that this team is missing right now, because I think teams are being able to hone in on Chucky Lozano and Anders Dreyer. And then, you need a big time guy. That's the focal point of the attack to put the ball in the back of the net. I hope they go out in the summertime, spend some money and get that guy.
So you grew up in Southern California. You understand what the culture is, obviously, down here in San Diego. Finally, Major League Soccer coming to San Diego after 30 years. What's it been like from your seat to watch the way this has been received here in San Diego with these huge crowds and the way they've played at home as well?
No, this has been very fun for me to watch. I still live in Southern California, so I can see and feel what's going on. The home games have looked awesome. I look forward to getting down there for a home game sometime soon when I'm not working on one of these weekends. But very, very excited just for, the state of California. We've got 4 teams now. Galaxy, the biggest club of all time, most successful in MLS. LAFC over the last, since their inception, have probably been the best team in MLS, the best club. San Jose's making a resurgence right now. And then we've got San Diego that's bright and new and shiny and doing very well and playing the best out of probably all 4 of the California teams, already taken 6 points off the Galaxy and LAFC. So I'm just very excited about where the state of the game is in Southern California. We've always known that this is a hotbed. I think it'll be even cooler to see 6-7 years down the line when San Diego starts bringing up some homegrowns, kids that grew up in San Diego and came through the academy and then will be playing for the first team at San Diego FC.
What's impressed you the most with Mike Ibarra's here?
The style of play. I mentioned it earlier. To be a young coach, to come into a brand new group of players and say, this is the way I want to play and I want all of you to buy into what I'm coaching. And the way that the team has done it, I think they made a huge first impression that first week against the LA Galaxy on the road with the way that they played. They kind of blew us all out of the water. There will be ups and downs. The biggest challenge for him will be to keep an even keel and keep the guys all on the same page. Even if the results start to falter a little bit, to not falter from what he is coaching, right? I played for Jesse Marsh at the New York Red Bulls. One season, we started, I think, the first 4 games of the year where we were probably favorites to win the Supporter Shield, where we didn't win a game. And he never changed. And nothing changed from his demeanor, from the way he coached or anything like that. So I think that will be the biggest challenge for a young coach like Mike Ibarra, is to stick to himself even when the times get tough.
Sacha Klestan is with us right now. Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So you spent a lot of time, obviously, in Major League Soccer, but you played abroad as well. What type of adjustment goes on, in your opinion, for a player like Chucky that hadn't been in Major League Soccer, is now transitioning to playing in this league? What type of alteration or adjustment is he going through?
Well, I think there's 2 parts to that question. One is on the field and one is off the field. So off the field first. It's always an adjustment coming to a new country, getting used to just the way things are in the community that you live in. And I know he's got a family, so, you take more responsibility. You start worrying about, getting your kids into the right schools and all that type of stuff. And then there's the on the field, which is, learning your opponents, learning the way that the teams play, learning the players you're going to be matched up against, how you can use their weaknesses against them, and things like that. I always tried to study my opponents to know exactly who I was playing against and what their tendencies were. With 30 teams in Major League Soccer, that is easier said than done. But listen, he's a very good player. He's obviously been very successful in multiple leagues around the world. It's a shame he had a bit of an injury and missed some time, because once he starts being fully healthy and really kicking on, I think he's going to be very, very good.
What's your overall take, just the start of this season with the league so far this year? What's impressed you the most?
I think the top of the East has been very impressive. So that's Charlotte, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Miami. I think the biggest surprise has been Vancouver in the West with how good they've been, just from top to bottom in the league and in CONCACAF Champions Cup. And then I'd say what else is that the West is just wide open. It's wide open. I think other than Vancouver, there isn't another team in the West that stands out at all. So I could see LAFC and Seattle, who are in 7th and 8th, finishing top of the table. I didn't expect the Galaxy to be at the bottom. So I think this is just the beauty and the chaos of Major League Soccer. LA Galaxy last season champions, this year last place, worst team in the league. It's been very fun to cover because we always try to make these predictions before every season about where every team is going to finish. And inevitably, we get about 70% of them wrong.
It's why we play the games. It's such a good point. Like, we think we know these sports until we watch them play out in front of our eyes. Sacha Klestan. Sacha, appreciate you doing it again for our listeners. MLS Countdown, MLS 360, Apple TV Plus. We're looking forward to this upcoming weekend here in San Diego as Salt Lake and San Diego square off. But thanks for taking some time for us here today, and we appreciate you doing it.
Anytime, guys. Thank you.
All right, great stuff from Sacha, who spent a decade plus in Major League Soccer. Long year, as we've said before.
Yeah.
Got off to the nice start. They've had a dip. There's still plenty of season in front of them. Have they played 9 matches or 10? I think 9. And there's going to be 34. So, they have
played 9.
They've played 9. They have 25 remaining.
Right.
So, they're getting into it, but there's still a ton of soccer in front of them. He brought up the really interesting point. 5 of their next 6 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Got to take advantage. They're going to finish with a lot of road matches. Once we get into like college football season, their last 2 are on the road, maybe 3 of their last 4 of their last 5. They got to take advantage of this coming up.
Absolutely. You take advantage of the stretch here for your home matches. You play Salt Lake this Saturday, and then we get into May. You have so many home games here against, Dallas and Colorado and Kansas City, Galaxy, Austin comes here. So you're in a lot of home matches in May, and you're right. You take advantage of that. You can afford to, not have to be as good on the road, because so far on the road this year, first match against Galaxy was great, and since then on the road, it feels like they're not clicking as well on the road as they are at home this season,
which makes sense. Again, and again, the year is long, but right now, bottlenecking in the West and currently in 6th place in the West. But again, 25 matches remaining in the regular season. All right, the wrap is on the other side at 4:30. Cynthia Frelund gets us ready for round 1 of the NFL draft from the NFL Network. We've got a giveaway for you this hour. We're here until 6. This is Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim. Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network, will join us coming up in about 15 minutes. So Cynthia Frelund with more on round one. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty. She will join us coming up, friend of the show, in about 15 minutes. Padres and Tigers involved in a thrilling game right now, 2-2 in the second inning.
Back and forth.
We've already had 2 different lead changes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're in the second inning. So 2-2, Padres and Tigers. And again, Cynthia Frelund will join us coming up in a few moments. And right now,
and that late arriving Tigers crowd, they're missing
they're all
everything.
showing up right now.
I can't wait to see the attendance for this game.
Well, I still haven't seen the overhead shot.
It's not pretty.
Have you seen it?
I've seen multiple shots, but
not the overhead.
No.
Okay, let's get to it.
I don't think they're going to show it, John.
Let's get to it.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
You guys worried about SDFC after a third straight road loss?
No, because this was, kind of bound to happen. Like, they're going to have ups and downs. They weren't just going to continue to play like they were playing at the start of the year, like a dream start they had. They're going to be a team that shows their, how young they are as far as like being together. They're not a young team per se, but they're still a expansion franchise. And to expect them to continue the pace that they were on to start the year, kind of highly unlikely. So now this is an opportunity to see what they can do as a club after some adversity here. That's kind of what you want to see in sports, is how you deal with adversity. How do you overcome that? And right now, this is the part of their season early on where they're facing some adversity, and how they deal with it and how they overcome it. It's going to be something that I can't wait to see.
I think they're in good shape.
I do too,
the next 6 at home, they just need to take advantage of those opportunities. It's like, once you lose a home match, have they lost a home match this year?
No.
Once you lose a home match, I feel like that's going to put some more pressure on you. But if they keep earning points, they don't have to be perfect at home, but keep earning points at home, I think they'll remain in the Western Conference conversation. Again, 6th place right now, but it's still early on standings. 9 matches in, 25 matches to be played. I think they're in decent shape, and probably better shape than most people expected heading into the year. Next question.
Jim needs to start going to road games.
He does.
Yeah.
He should have been in Charlotte.
My bad.
It's all your fault. Who's going to be a better NFL quarterback, Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward?
Yeah.
I'll take Shedeur. I think actually, I don't know what I think. I just take Shedeur.
I'll take Cam Ward because I was watching Cynthia Frelund's Instagram, and she likes Cam Ward as the top quarterback prospect in the draft.
Okay. Well, is Cam Ward going to get the necessary pieces around him to succeed?
Well, I'm not a future looker into.
Okay, then we probably shouldn't be asking the question. If we're
no
future,
questions. Let's just ask about the past.
If we're not future lookers.
What'd you think in the 1997 NFL season, Jim?
Well, I'll tell you about that, John. It was a good season. My 49ers that year lost to the Green Bay Packers in the postseason. Not great. And the Packers played, who'd they play that year? No.
New England?
New England? No, that was 96, right? 97? Maybe it was New England.
Here's what I would say about Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. Seriously, there's no conversation about Sanders supplanting Ward atop the draft. So heading into the draft, it's a clear-cut distinction between Ward and Sanders, but we'll see what happens once they get in.
Which is kind of weird, don't you think?
There's been no conversation about, maybe Sanders number one. No, it's been all Cam Ward. Next question.
Will the Lakers win this opening round series?
I thought you were going to ask, will they win a game in this opening round series?
They will.
They will. I think they're going to blitz Minnesota in game 2. I think they're going to blow them out in game 2. I think Lakers in 6 still. I still think Lakers in 6 here.
I agree with you. I think the Lakers will win this series. This happens a lot in the NBA. Teams settle into a series after losing game 1, even as a favorite. This is not the first time this has happened. I think the Lakers will be fine. I don't know about who is the true favorite. I mean, we saw Oklahoma City. In terms of true favorite in the West, we saw Golden State perform well in Houston. I think the West is going to be pretty intriguing. I think this Denver-LA series will be good. Clippers-Nuggets, even though Denver won game 1 over LA. But no, I think the Lakers win the series. I agree. I think it's 6 games.
Usually in a a series that's not such a mismatch or what am I looking for?
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say usually in series when it's not such a mismatch that if it's a blowout in game 1, usually game 2, the team that got blown out responds.
Yes, absolutely.
Unless it's Thunder.
Right, you're not saying like it's not like the Lakers lost to the T-Wolves and the T-Wolves are the 1 and the Lakers are the 8.
Or like the Cavs blowing out whoever's the 8th seed right now.
Right. Who is it?
The Heat?
Orlando or Miami? Yeah.
Miami?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they blew a match. No, they won the game. But my point is like
20.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, they blew out Miami. I don't expect Miami to come back and win game 2 against the top seeded Cavs, but I do expect the Lakers, a 3 seed, losing to a lower seed, to come back after getting blown out in game 1 to respond.
I also think Memphis wins by 51 in game 2. They respond. They show up. They show up in Oklahoma. That's a tough environment, by the way. OKC. Next question.
Would you guys take a 5-5 stretch for the Padres over their next 10 games?
Yes, I would. Just seeing what I've seen so far today, like it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle here, right? And when days that Manny and Tatis go over, which there will be days like that, can they overcome? Those can be tough.
I mean, let's just fast forward for a second. If they do go 5-5, they're 21-11, and hopefully at that point, like with the Jackson Merrill, and hopefully with a Luis Arraez, and then you say, well, maybe now they can start playing the way they were, 6-4 over 10 or 7-3 in there. So yes. Now, do I want them to play 500 from here on out? No, we think they're better than that, even with them being 10 games over 500. So it is such a long year. You can play 5-5 baseball over 10 games to get off to a good start and still be in good shape. So yeah, I'm with you. I think I would take 5-5 over the next 10. But again, with Schulte and these, you don't know.
Winners find solutions, John.
Yeah, maybe they do. And maybe they go to Detroit with this series underway and they do win this series. This could be a wonky series, by the way. This could be an interesting night tonight between the Tigers and Padres.
It could be. We'll see. I'm just looking at this next stretch here as survival mode, and that's why I think 5-5 to me feels like you survived it. You go 4-6 or even worse, 3-7. You're like,
yeah, that's not great.
That's not great at all. You got to still preserve like the start of your season for all the good things you did to start the year. The start that you jumped out to 12-2, I think it was, right?
What were they to start the year?
Well, they started 7-0.
Correct. And then they went 3-3.
So
they were 10-3.
Oh, 10-3.
Yeah. And then they can't, but then they won like 4. They were like 14-3 or something.
Yeah, 14-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they swept the Rockies at home, and then they
won a game 1, lost a game 2. Yeah. I mean, the one thing they do have going for them, to your point, is they've been awesome at home. So maybe even with this lessened lineup, I mean, they're playing in front of 50,000 people or whatever it is, 45,000 people. So you like their chances when they get back home to Petco. All right, Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network. More on the Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders conversation. What does she make of Travis Hunter as an NFL prospect? Ashton Genty, how generational is he?
Play the infield in more. You can't.
It's 3-2 Tigers, Jim, on April 21st. Relax. Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network, next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Caltrans. We'll start with the Padres. They're in Detroit taking on the Tigers. Game 1 of a 3-game series. Tigers lead bottom of the second inning 3-2. The news of the day for the Padres. Luis Arraez has been put on the 7-day IL, not the 10-day IL. He is in concussion protocol. Mason McCoy has been recalled to the active roster. And NBA playoffs continue today. Right now, Knicks and Pistons are about to tip off in New York. Knicks have a 1-0 series lead. Nuggets and Clippers, 7 p.m. tip time there in Denver. Nuggets have a 1-0 series lead there as well. Imagine a photograph of your favorite place in California, and right in the middle of it, one piece of litter. Litter has no place in our lives, not one single piece. Together, let's change that. Clean California, zero litter is the goal. CleanCA.com.
All right, we have Mr. Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network, friend of the show. Back with us, Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Now, we haven't talked to Cynthia because, well, they haven't been playing football since the Super Bowl, but now the draft is coming up this week. Did you realize that, Jim? They haven't had any NFL games
What?
since the Super Bowl. Cynthia, how are you? Thanks for hopping on again.
Good to hear from you guys.
I know.
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
We are doing well, and we're excited for this weekend and the first round coming up on Thursday night from Green Bay, Wisconsin. So I've been watching some of the stuff that you've been posting on social. I'd love for you to tell us, for our listeners, like, how do Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders stack up from like a pro prospect potential? How do you differentiate between Ward and Sanders? Are those the top two quarterback prospects heading in for you?
Yeah, so Ward is probably, like, if you put him with last year's guys, let's like just, obviously we know who they become. To me, he ranks a little ahead of Bo Nix, and that was only because Bo Nix, like, he was a real, like, Sean Payton saw something in Bo Nix that maybe not, 31 other clubs didn't, or at least a number of other clubs didn't. So when I'm looking at him, that's where he would rate. He's, Cam Ward is not going to make mistakes. He has a high ceiling. He's a very accurate passer. He maybe doesn't have the strongest or biggest arm, but he certainly is going to get you kind of what, like, of all of the guys in this class, to me, that's the one. It makes sense to me that the Titans would pick him.
Would you be surprised if Shedeur Sanders drops here in the draft past, like, I don't know, 5th?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he drops past 5th, but I would be very surprised if he drops past the Saints at 9.
Okay, so in terms of but these are the top two. Who's the third best quarterback in this draft?
I would say it's probably Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
The most accurate one. But I think that there could be Tyler Shuck, who happens to be very old. He's an interesting prospect as well. He's got the biggest arm. He throws the fastest one, but he has some injury history. So, and sometimes people don't like older quarterbacks. But I actually like Tyler Shuck more than most people. And Jalen Milroe, he's a very athletic guy with a ton of upside, but he's going to need to go to the right place because he's a much more raw prospect than some of these other guys.
Well, what do you like and what do you not like about Shedeur Sanders?
Well, Shedeur Sanders, I don't really know what his ceiling is because their O-line was so bad at Colorado that I truly don't know what it looks like when he throws from a clean pocket. Like, he was under the most, in all of FBS, he was under the most pressure. And it's true that he didn't throw a bunch of bad throws, meaning like ones that were likely to result in some version of a takeaway, et cetera. But that doesn't make me know what he's like when things are going well. So I don't have a clear picture of him, which makes it hard. I do know that he's versatile. He's elusive. He's got a lot of the traits that he's smart. He's clearly well coached, and he's very confident, which are all great things. But now I don't know how that translates to a playbook that's not his dad's. He's only had one coach his whole life, effectively, and that's something we've never seen before. So it's going to be an interesting situation when he becomes a pro, and I'm excited to see how it all nets out.
Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated by it as well. There's a lot of unknowns with all players that are getting drafted. I feel like there's even more with Shedeur Sanders. Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network is with us again. The first round of the NFL draft is coming up on Thursday night. What about his teammate Travis Hunter? What type of pro does he project to be?
So I have him as a corner with a little bit of wide receiver upside. Excuse me, the other way around. A wide receiver with a little bit of corner upside. So that's how I rank him. I don't think, to me, in the next level, I think it's best to have him learn wide receiver traits, and then if you have a few packages for him on the other side, great, as opposed to the other. I think he's the best player in this draft. He's the one that, for me, is most likely to be the all-pro, the gold jacket guy. I think he's an interesting, kind of generationally interesting player. To me, he's number one. If you were to no position involved in the ranking system, I think he's the best player in this draft.
Interesting. Okay. So you got Shedeur Sanders as the best player in the draft.
No, Travis Hunter.
Oh, sorry, Travis Hunter. My bad. I mixed them up there. Yeah. Travis Hunter, excuse me. But Abdul Carter, is there any concern with his pre-draft injury, or what's about him doesn't make him your top player in the draft? And what do you like about, Abdul Carter here?
Love a pass rusher. I love how bursty he is. I love his explosiveness. This isn't an anti-Abdul Carter take.
Right.
I just haven't seen it as consistently as I have from, I just think Travis Hunter's versatility makes him more interesting in the modern game. But I also think Abdul Carter did it for 1 year. Don't let the 11 and the Penn State jersey fool you. I don't think he's Micah Parsons, at least not yet. It's less about the injury to me and more about the fact that I only saw it for 1 year in school. So that, again, it just introduces more volatility into the situation, less sureness, right? Like you could take that either way. Some people don't like all the tread on the tires if someone's played more. I would prefer there's like a sweet spot of snaps, and to me, he doesn't have those numbers yet to substantiate the kind of all pro, like that trajectory. He's the second best player in this draft for me, but Travis Hunter just narrowly eclipses him.
That's pretty good, and that would mean the best, not the best defensive prospect necessarily, because Hunter is going to be a corner in the NFL. Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network. To touch on that for a moment, is it still realistic, Cynthia, to play both ways? Like, how many snaps could he get on both sides of the ball?
I did a very informal survey across the league, and let's say there are 60 snaps on each side, in an NFL game. I think he's the kind of guy who you could get the full complement of snaps on offense, and then maybe like a couple of packages, maybe let's call it 6 snaps on the other side, 10 snaps, something like that. So I think there could be packages for him that include that, but I think focused, at least from the learning the playbook standpoint, that's going to be where, that'll be dependent on where he ends up going, what the coach is like. And then perhaps as he becomes more and more of a pro and you can use more of the playbook, then we see a little bit more of a defensive split in certain situations.
Being here in San Diego, we've seen a lot of Ashton Jeanty. I loved his pre-draft letter to all teams out there. Do you envision him being a top 12, 15 draft pick? Where do you think he might fall here in the draft?
It'd be very hard. At least, I'm buying into the hype that the Raiders and Pete Carroll would be interested in his services, in large part because they're trying to change the culture and the narrative around this kid. And from every interview, from you, like you talked about the letter, et cetera, this is a kid who feels like a culture shifter. And that's the type of thing where, given Pete Carroll's, he wants to run we know he wants to run the football. And given that they already have Geno Smith, they've got a lot of pressing needs for the Raiders. And if it were me, I would be pounding the table to take a cornerback. But I think it's possible that they just like him and they like what he could do for their franchise enough to make the move there.
Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network. When you turn on Jeanty film, I don't watch the film, I just watch the games, and it's mind-boggling what he has done really over the last 2 years. But we saw it up close and personal here in the Mountain West and against other opponents as well. Oregon, obviously, last year as well. I think he was terrific in that game. When you watch that film, is there even a comp for Ashton Jeanty?
LaDainian Tomlinson. Now, it's hard to say that in the San Diego market to be like, he looks like
yeah,
LaDainian Tomlinson. That's a very lofty goal.
Right.
And it's a very, but style-wise. So we're talking about in the vein of, I'm not giving him a gold jacket yet. I'm not crowning him yet. I'm saying in the same vein as LaDainian Tomlinson, which means transformative. It means a guy who can weather a lot of carries. It means a guy who's versatile. It means a guy who can break contact. The thing that really sticks out for me is, not all contact is created equal. And if you're kind of looking at the times when he had a head-on collision to someone who had the best chance of stopping him, he can roll out very quickly. His instincts are really good for that. His shiftiness, some people call it elusive, some people call it shifty, whatever you want to call it. He makes guys miss, and that's going to be really valuable at the next level, especially now that you've seen, all right, it was a really good defensive tackle class, right? We saw for a while DTs were not something that were there weren't very many of them. We don't really have a lot of nose tackles left, but now you're seeing a shift back. It kind of is like this game of chess, right? Like your move, my move, your move, my move. So a running back who can break contact is going to be even more valuable now that there are more defensive tackles and teams are using him more.
Is there a player that is expected to be drafted in the first round that not a lot of people are talking about? And I'm not saying like a sleeper or anything, because if you're drafted in the first round, you're not a sleeper. But is there a player that maybe people should talk more about that isn't being talked about enough?
I feel like Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU, Jason Taylor's son. I don't think a lot of people are talking about him as a first rounder. And he, to me, he's very likely to sneak into the back end of the first round. So, I mean, I'm not going to call him a sleeper, but this is a really strong tight end class. I think we're going to see Tyler Warren out of Penn State go very early. I think we see Colton Loveland out of Michigan also going to be in a first round situation, which means a team that's potentially looking for that tight end, that big body, the possession guy, a guy can, get the top of the shot, like help you in the red area. I think Mason Taylor has a very good chance to hear his name called on Thursday night.
Do you expect like first round fireworks? Like it'd be like crazy trade proposals or like, are you expecting anything kind of wonky or crazy to transpire towards the top of the draft?
I think there's two key parts. Two key parts to the first round, and then the Browns having that 33rd pick could make for some interesting drama because they could switch up. They have 10 total picks. They could come back up to get a quarterback, etc. So that's interesting. But I think right at so first of all, what the Giants end up doing could be transformative in this draft. If something weird happens and Abdul Carter goes to the Browns and then the Giants for some reason don't take Travis Hunter, I think we could see some interesting stuff go there. I don't know if it'll happen, but that could be a spot. And then number 8, right ahead of the Saints at 9. If the Cam Ward comes off 1 and then Shedeur is sitting there at 9 and someone really wants his services, they could hop up to 8 with the Panthers, who I would think the Panthers are open for doing business.
All right, this is a homer question specifically for me, Cynthia. Niners are picking 11th here. They have, I believe, the most draft picks, or tied for the most picks in the draft this year. I am arguing that this draft is probably one of the most important drafts in John Lynch's career as a general manager. Where do you see them going at 11?
Where do I see them going, or where would I like to see them go?
Where would you like to see them go?
If it's me and Will Johnson's there, the corner out of Michigan, I'm just going to be really psyched because you've got the best off-ball linebacker in the league. Like, shore up the passing game and figure out magic on that front. Now, I also would like to, I'm fine with O-line too. Like, I give a little help to Brock Purdy. Let's do that in on all of that. I think it's very possible that they take the first wide receiver off the board. Again, if you're considering Travis Hunter not a wide receiver, let's just put him aside. I think that's possible as well.
Cynthia, will you be in Green Bay?
I will. I'll be in Green Bay freezing because I am no longer a hardy Midwesterner. I am a soft Californian.
Oh, you're
as
like
you should be.
We're all soft, Cynthia. It's okay.
I mean, I'm looking at this weather.
I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that.
The weather it doesn't look great, but it doesn't look like horrific, right? What are 50s, some rain? It's not great.
That's some cold rain.
That is
it gets
cold.
Cold when it's raining at night,
Yeah,
but I've got jackets. We're good. I own all that stuff,
Yeah.
I didn't get rid of it.
Yeah, just wear like 100 layers. It'll be 60 degrees out. Wear 100 layers.
I mean, 50 degrees is cold.
It really is.
We
We're
are
not kidding.
so soft.
We get it in San Diego. Cynthia, thank you. Enjoy the weekend, and we look forward to catching up again soon. We always appreciate you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Nice talking to you. And next time we talk, we'll have to talk about, I got bit by a camel. So we'll talk about that with Hunter Henry. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
It's fine. So there's a tease.
That's a radio tease.
That
We're
is a
writing that
tease.
down.
That
We will
is a
discuss
tease.
soon. Thanks, Cynthia. Safe travels.
Bye, guys.
That's hilarious.
Camel
All right, she's been bit by a camel.
with Hunter Henry.
Right. How does that happen? Do camels bite? I thought camels spit.
I don't
Camels
know.
are mean. Have you heard that before?
Well, apparently they are. If they're biting
They do
Cynthia
not
Frelund.
like people.
They don't like people.
They don't like
apparently.
anything. They're camel. Look at them. They look ridiculous.
It's like
Have
we
you
have
ever
a
looked at a camel?
I have looked at a camel.
They're ridiculous.
Remember the camel ruined Juan Soto's year?
Yeah, that's right. Dude, no, was it a camel or a horse? Camel.
It was a camel gate. It was camel gate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, rode a camel, and then after that was never the same.
We've got a ticket giveaway for our listeners on the other side. We'll react to Cynthia Frelund as the NFL draft is coming up again in just 3 days. This is Jon and Jim. AM Radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars standard message and data rate supply. It might be time tonight for a conversation about, well, this Padres Tigers game.
What about it?
Well, this is one of those games that so far just hasn't gone their way, right? Randy Vasquez has pitched really well this season. He didn't pitch well today. They've had to go to their bullpen very early. Now, it's only a 4-2 game. They're trailing 4-2 in the third inning. Can they navigate this thing with the bullpen for the next 7 innings and come back and win? That would be really impressive because Vasquez really struggled. The Tigers have played well in this game, well enough. Padres seemingly on the ropes here in the third inning with Logan Gillespie on the mound. Can they somehow come back in a game like this? That would be super impressive if they do.
I know Schulte before the game. And what's he going to say? Yeah, I don't think we have a chance tonight because of the lineup I'm putting out there. Right. But before the game, winners find solutions. The mindset, I don't care who's out there. We're going to look to go win a baseball game. Mm-hmm. But you can always tell by someone's actions instead of words what they really think. And the fact that they already in this game multiple times have brought the infield in tells me, yeah, we don't think we're going to put up a bunch of runs tonight. And now, do you think that this offense tonight, this lineup, can put up 5 runs? Because that's how many they're going to need to win this game potentially.
I think that they can.
Maybe even more.
My question now is, can this bullpen do what this bullpen has done?
I think so. Yes, I'm not
and hold them scoreless from here on out.
Yeah, I'm not going to question the bullpen. And look, is the bullpen going to have bad days? Of course, but they're also, it's not Jason Adam or Jeremiah Estrada or Robert Suarez out there right now. Like, yeah, the middle half of the bullpen, the bridge guys, the guys that are used when they're trailing games, yeah, they're going to have to help.
That's my question. If they can keep Detroit to, let's say, 5 runs, it's 4-2 right now.
Okay.
If they can keep Detroit to 5 runs, well, I trust in them having a rally in an inning. I mean, they've scored in 2 different innings already in this game. It's not like they haven't done anything, right?
I'm gonna have to see it because for me,
it's a guy making like his second career start.
Okay,
he ain't Cy Young.
Well, it's not like they're like hitting rockets everywhere.
They are hitting rockets everywhere. That's how they scored those big 2 runs.
It was a ground out that should have been a double play by Tirso Ornelas.
It should not have been a double play. It was slowly hit.
Yeah, you should. But a double play ball,
and then a ground ball that scored the other run.
Right. I just am saying my biggest concern now, which is the concern of yeah, I know.
My concern was, can they keep Detroit at 4 runs? And
they're not scoring 7 runs tonight.
Listen, was it a good year? It was a good year.
It's a good year.
They won 16 games.
Well, good year, everybody.
That's a big total.
Well, it was a good season.
It was a good year. Now, it wasn't the year you're hoping for.
What was your favorite part of the season?
Probably the 11-0 start at home or whatever they were was really good. What, are you tweeting season over?
Well, it was a good year, guys.
No, they're completely fine. How many times did you hear us say over the first 3 weeks of the season, how many injuries can you overcome? Jim, this is how sports work. You don't football, Major League, it's all the same. NBA, you're without Luka tonight. All right, well, you have LeBron, but if you're without Luka and LeBron, it starts getting really hard to win.
Now they have Manny and Tatis, which is like Luka and LeBron.
Merrill and Arraez are big pieces for them, but you're right. Yeah. And it's not just Merrill and Arraez.
But you need the others.
Yeah, Luka and LeBron's not the perfect example, but I'm saying if the Lakers are without their next 3 best players other than Luka and LeBron, it probably impacts the Lakers' ability to win.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You need to have the other step up. Like, if you don't have that, it's just good luck. They should have had this game, a 3 or 4 spot in the first, and they only got 1.
Did they load the bases with nobody out or 1 out? They loaded the bases.
And now you're asking guys like Tirso Ornelas to come through instead. It should have been Jackson Merrill.
Right.
Like, that's a big drop off there from Tirso to Jackson.
Yeah.
And, Xander, another guy. It's funny. Xander has been, when's the last RBI he had? I can't even remember. Guy's in scoring position. He gets a hit with runners in scoring position. And the guys didn't even score. Now, Xander's it's not his fault, but still, it's just continuing to prove Xander just cannot drive in any runs.
Everyone relax. It's April 21st. They're 16-6.
I'm not overreacting. Am I overreacting, John?
Stay calm.
I'm not overreacting.
It's hilarious.
I'm perfectly fine. Okay, everything is okay.
Here's the date of his last RBI. It was April 8th. It's a long time ago.
It's April 21st.
It was April 8th in a 10-4 loss to the A's.
So it doesn't even count.
His last RBI in a win, it might have been important. They beat the Cubs 8-7 at Wrigley. He had one RBI, April 6th.
Important RBI there.
His other RBIs, you may recall, April 1st, he had one. He also had one on opening day. No, he didn't. Second day. He said he hasn't driven anyone in. 5 RBIs this year. All right, 6-2 Tigers. On the other side, we have a giveaway for you. We're going to give away those tickets to see. Actually, let's do it right now. You want tickets to see the San Diego Mojo at Viejas Arena May 3rd? Let's cheer people up. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to see the San Diego Mojo take on Indy May 3rd at Viejas Arena, San Diego's Major League Volleyball team. First caller to 877-767-4760 is going. Again, the number to call. We've got a free 4-pack of tickets to see the Mojo May 3rd at Viejas. All you have to do is call 877-767-4760. More on tonight's Padres-Tigers game, plus our conversation with Cynthia Frelund on round 1 of the NFL draft as we kick off hour 4 of Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Dell Technologies. Tigers Padres game 1 of their 3-game series, not going the Padres' way so far. It trailed the Tigers 6-2 in the top of the 4th inning. NBA playoff action underway in New York. Pistons lead the Knicks 23-18 at the end of the first quarter. Knicks have a 1-0 series lead there. Nuggets and Clippers. Game 2 of their series tips off at 7 p.m. Denver leads that series 1-0. Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. So great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
I guess the question for me is 40-40 within the realm of possibility for Fernando Tatis Jr.? He's certainly, we've said this before, if he stays healthy, he's going to hit 40 home runs. I'd be shocked if he didn't hit 40 home runs if he stayed healthy. Will they let him run like that all year long? I don't know, but he's a legit MVP candidate.
He has been absolutely incredible. He has put the team on his back.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. With you until 6 p.m. We'll keep you updated on the Padres. We're getting you ready for the NFL draft. Of course, the NBA postseason is underway as well, which will also continue here tonight. What are the matchups going on in the NBA tonight, this Monday evening, Jim?
Well, John, if you listened to the
I haven't
update.
listened to one of your updates. Other than you haven't mentioned Fernando Tatis Jr. winning NL Player of the Week.
I mentioned it like twice.
Right.
Knicks and Pistons.
Okay.
Game 2. Knicks had that big comeback against the Pistons. They trail 24-18 at the end of the first quarter there.
Who trails 24-18?
The Knicks.
Okay, trailing the Pistons.
Yep.
In New York.
Knicks have a 1-0 series lead. Yep. Clippers and Nuggets. This could be a really good series. I thought the Clippers were a sleeper team in the West, even though they lost game 1. I mean, obviously it's a huge game tonight for the Clippers. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a really good series. You can already tell. Game 1 was a
back and
banger.
Forth, came down to the end. So those are the only 2 games tonight. Is that
only
right?
2 games tonight. Tomorrow, Lakers and Timberwolves. You can listen to that right here on the station, 7 p.m. tip time. Close to a must-win game for the Lakers, right?
Yeah, at home, you can't go down. I mean, we say you can't go down 2-0, but they don't want to go down 2-0.
Just at home.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Bucks, Pacers, Grizzly Thunder tomorrow night as well. I mean, these are all good matchups for sure in the NBA playoffs.
There are some good ones.
My Warriors got a win on the road against the very young Rockets team. That was such a weird game because it was so low scoring. I think it was like 41, 30 something at the half.
Right.
Like, whoa.
What was the final? 95-85?
95-85.
Yes.
Steph and Jimmy went for, I believe, 56 combined. It's pretty good.
It's very good.
Yep.
We're going to hear in a moment coming up from Nico Harrison, the Mavs GM, who's been like embattled, right, throughout the course of the winter into the spring because he traded Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the history of the franchise. You talk about misreading a room, right?
Oh my gosh.
And that's what he admitted to him. And if you missed it, you'll hear it coming up. But he admits to that. Like, I didn't read the room. Like, how is that even possible? How could you be the general manager of the Mavericks and not understand the importance of Luka to the city and the franchise? That's the part to me that's most incredible. It's not the idea of wanting to trade him or thinking you can win a trade, but the idea that you don't understand his value or worth. That to me is shocking. Shocking.
So tone deaf.
Yeah, tone deaf. Yeah.
So tone deaf. I don't understand it. I don't know who he's sticking up for. I don't know who he's being a shield for. Or if it's just really, what we see, which is he made the decision. It was his call. He wasn't forced by anyone else in the organization from the ownership group to make this deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that Nico was the one that made it on his own because he thought, and he was the only one that seemingly thought, this would give them a better chance to win a championship.
I mean, part of me, to be honest, in watching how embattled he's been, like, I kind of feel bad for him.
I don't, not one bit.
But again, it's professional sports, and like, he put himself into this mess. I also, I don't think this reflects well on the organization.
Awful.
So he doesn't employ himself. Do we have this, Brent? from Nico Harrison? We will in a second. I mean, again, it's not his decision whether he should have his job or not. Like the reporter that you're going to hear from asked him, why shouldn't you be fired? Well, he doesn't work for himself. He's not going to fire himself. That's like saying, like,
why did Xander sign that contract?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Eric, would you like to give some of the money back? I mean, like, no. 2 people signed that contract, both Hosmer and the Padres organization. So, no, I do feel bad for him to some extent. Again, it's his own mess. It's his own professional mess. But I can't imagine being in his shoes.
I don't feel bad for him one bit. He's the one that made this trade happen. He's the one that didn't talk to any other teams. He's the one that got this deal for Luka. He's the one that pushed Luka out the door when Luka wanted to sign the Supermax and stay there.
Yeah, but I also wonder, like, what role did their ownership play in this? He had carte blanche to just do this?
Well, that's the only question I have is, are you sticking up for somebody that forced you to make this deal? Are you taking the heat?
You're taking the fall for ownership?
Are you taking the fall for the ownership?
That'd be fascinating. Is that how he's keeping his job? That's fascinating.
Because if he is, then I do feel bad for him. But if he's not,
then it's just stupidity.
Then it's 100% just stupidity.
Once you hear what he has to say, you won't feel sorry for him anymore.
Oh, I know.
Right, that's the way I was, John, until I heard his comments.
So he was asked, why shouldn't he be fired? Take a listen.
Luka comes back to town, the Lakers game's happening, and you're standing there, and there's thousands of people chanting for you to be fired. That's an experience that none of us, no one's chanting for for us to lose our jobs. Why shouldn't you be fired?
Well, one, I think I've done a really good job here, and I don't think I can be judged by the injuries this year. You have to judge from totality, from beginning to end, and so I think I have a really good working relationship with Patrick.
So he has done a good job up into the point where he traded Luka, like building a team last year to get to the NBA Finals and progressively getting better and better. The trade for Kyrie was a good one, obviously. A couple other moves that he made, they were good moves, helped him get to the finals. But everything after the Luka deal is a fireable offense.
Well, that's the thing. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how is the play? Although, how is the same general manager that helped guide the Mavericks to the NBA Finals? How can you be both a genius and an idiot within a calendar year?
I just think there is something more there that we just don't know, because it is so baffling to every NBA expert that follows this league for a living for him to trade Luka and then seemingly have no good explanation for it.
Yeah, but there is an explanation if you go back to last year's NBA Finals, and that wasn't directly from Nico Harrison when the reporters were saying that the Mavericks organization believes this about Luka. Well, like that was publicly out there last year in the NBA Finals. That wasn't only from Nico Harrison, was it? Then Nico Harrison didn't believe in Luka Doncic? Is that what we were hearing last year in the Finals?
Well, here is what Nico said today, which will make you not feel bad for him anymore. That was bad in itself right there, kind of not being aware, right? This, what he says about the fan support for Luka, this is like, you need to stop talking now. Listen to this.
I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage.
Nah, probably not.
You're completely in over your head. Charles Barkley on TNT tonight, had a passionate plea for Nico, just stop talking, because you're just digging your grave deeper and deeper, and you will eventually be fired. It's going to happen. And it will all stem from this moment where you traded Luka.
I mean, all these guys by and large are. There's a lot of movement in the NBA. We see with coaches, we see with general managers. So, that alone isn't that shocking when a general manager loses a job. Now, my question is, does he lose his job this offseason or not? It doesn't appear as if he will, based on the fact that the season is over and he's still speaking on behalf of the team, right?
How do you not know that the fans beloved Luka?
No, say it again, because I think he said I didn't, but he meant I did. Because I did know that he was loved by the fan
But he's
base.
like, but I didn't know he was this loved.
Play the start of that again, Brent, because I was confused too at the start of it. I want to hear it again.
I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level.
Okay, turn it down. So I thought he was saying I didn't know. He's saying I did know he was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know to what level.
How do you not know that?
Yeah, that makes no sense. I agree with that.
How do you not know that?
Well, that was my point. Like you're the one reporting to work every day. Like you got to be able to read a room. Like if I'm going to iHeart San Diego every day, like I better have a feel for like I'm in radio. So this isn't television. You better have a feel for what you're doing. That doesn't make any sense.
Luka's been a
all NBA.
Not only that, it's pretty easy to see the popularity of a certain player.
Yeah.
Like look at jersey sales.
Sure.
Look at appearances wherever he goes. Look at the fan reaction. Look at giveaways with Luka on whatever giveaway they have. The attendance for those games.
It's not hard.
It's not hard to know how beloved Luka was in Dallas.
I'm trying to
give me a break.
Like, think about the last 25 years of stars in the NBA: LeBron, KD, Kobe. Give me another handful. Steph. Okay, Klay Thompson is prime. Then some others, right? None of those players. I'm talking. Go back further. None of those players were traded in the prime of their careers.
Give me the names again that you just said.
Kobe.
No.
Steph.
No.
LeBron.
No.
Keep going. I mean, give me Shaq.
Shaq
was at the beginning,
but they had to do it.
Right, exactly. Like hand was forced. So I'm just saying it's basically unprecedented. It's basic. What they did was unprecedented, and there's probably a reason it was unprecedented. As in, you don't trade away a 25-year-old that's all NBA.
It's like
in their prime.
I think Luka is a bigger star than Jason Tatum is, but it's like if after the Celtics lost the finals to the Warriors that year back in 2022 and they just traded Jason Tatum, he's not as beloved or as big of a star in Boston as Luka was in Dallas for the Mavericks. But it's essentially like, hey, we took you to the finals, you had a bad finals, and we're going to trade you. It's like, what? In his prime, like, what? And it's like hearing those things from him, completely tone deaf. You lost the trade, my guy. I'm sorry. You lost it. The basketball gods told you lost it with all the injuries that you suffered. That is karma at its peak. You got to just shut up now. And it's going to be nearly impossible because the media in Dallas is not going to let him ever hear the end of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And as they should, by the way. If we were in Dallas, you damn well know this show would never let them hear the end of it.
And that's why I'm like, some of it doesn't make sense because when you put 2 and 2 together and it adds up to 5, some of it literally does not make any sense. How did he construct a roster to go to the NBA Finals to only a half year later trade this player away to this kind of public ridicule?
And I think the biggest part of it that is the 2 + 2 = 5. What the hell just happened here is of the secrecy, the fact that no other teams had an opportunity to trade for Luka.
Right. That's been my criticism.
And the fact that they settled for that deal for Luka, that's the part where you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, one thing if they got the greatest return in NBA history.
7 first-round picks plus 2 all-stars and a bunch of pick swaps.
Yeah, but they didn't. They got Anthony Davis, who's missed the whole year.
He's an injury-prone Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and I think a first-round pick and 2032,
which will be the 32nd overall pick.
What?
Exactly. All right. We'll keep you updated on Padres and Tigers well underway tonight in Detroit to kick off a 3-game series. We're here until 6, Jon and Jim. All right, Wednesday at 6 right here on San Diego Sports 760. It's SDFC Midweek Live. You can hear from head coach Mikey Varas, as well as interviews with players and coaches. Find out the latest club and MLS information. Hosted by Darren Smith, SDFC Midweek Live, every Wednesday at 6 in your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. Padres trailing 6-3 in the fifth to the Tigers, although they have scored on a Gavin Sheets home run, and Manny Machado is aboard with only one out in the fifth inning. So, Jim, I know you had given up on this game when it was 6-2, along with me.
Give up the game. I gave up on the season.
Correct. But an error on the second baseman after a Gavin Sheets home run, and here come the Friars in the fifth inning. This thing's far from over.
Oh, they're winning this game. They're winning the World Series. We're going to start a parade route, next week, I think. So, yeah, everything's fine now.
Everything is good. We'll get back to this game in a moment. The college basketball transfer portal closes tomorrow.
Are you counting down the minutes?
That'll be tomorrow, I think, at midnight, although we won't officially know if someone entered until probably the next day. But if you're a San Diego State fan, no news is good news. You want it all quiet if you're an Aztec fan, because they have put their roster together and it looks really good right now, and you don't want anything to get in the way of it. And if you watch what's playing out nationally, there's still players entering the portal. And if you go back to a year ago, the Aztecs had some late entries a year ago. I think Lamont was a late entry, Lamont Butler. Elijah Saunders was a very late entry as well. So you're about 24 hours out. You've put together this roster that a lot of people think will be as good as there is in the Mountain West, a team that can contend nationally. And now you just cross your fingers and hope you can keep it together for another 24 hours or so.
And the thing with, some players on this team is you still have to watch out for the draft. Like Cooper Flagg declared today. I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know the exact cutoff date to declare for the NBA draft, but
I don't know either.
But there's a date out there. I just don't know what the date is.
Right.
And Magoon and Miles Bird are the two names to watch because they have entered the draft process. Now, they've also kept their college eligibility, but entering the draft process, if they get, a majority of scouts or however the process goes saying like you're a first round draft pick or whatever they would tell them to convince them or give them reason to jump to the NBA, those players are not 100% coming back.
True. And that's why I like what they've done here late, like the addition of the San Jose State transfer, Latrell Davis, where if you lost to Miles Bird because he does make it to the NBA, which is a credit to Bird and something that is good, I think, ultimately for a college program as you graduate players to the NBA, well, you've backfilled potentially. You have someone ready to go immediately. Magoon, good point as well. The date to enter is April 26th.
Okay.
So just a few days away. I think Miles Bird has already declared his intention to enter. I'm not sure if Magoon has or not.
He has, right?
I don't know, because when he withdrew his name from the portal, did he say he's also entered the NBA draft? Okay, then maybe I forgot. It's been a few weeks.
Let me just pull it up here.
Yeah.
He said, I've made the decision to take the next step in my journey by declaring for the 2025 NBA draft while maintaining college eligibility.
So, I just wanted to hear that he withdrew his name from consideration.
That he's just like withdrew from everything.
No, you're right. I mean, the roster can change a lot because there are probably 40 guys right now on NBA rosters that aren't coming back.
Yeah.
Because of NBA draft eligibility. Like Cooper Flagg's obviously not coming back. He's going number one overall.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't enter just to come back if you're Cooper Flagg, but this is going to happen. Again, I don't think that's a bad thing to get guys to the NBA. I think it's a good thing ultimately. And we'll wait. That's going to play out over weeks, by the way. The NBA process, unlike the portal that plays out like over 30 days, I think we won't know if Bird or Guath will be back for much longer. It'll be until, I don't know, May or June.
Well, that's what we had to do here and deal with Nathan Mensah when he was going through the draft process and he returned very late the year they went to the national championship. Jaden Ledee and Lamont Butler. Those are the last three guys that I can remember off the top of my head where we had to wait till like almost the last minute before they decided to return to San Diego State and not enter the NBA draft.
Right. So I feel as if you're the coaching staff, you just let it play out. I mean, basketball is unlike football in that regard. Yeah. I mean, you put your name in the ring and then you see if you could make it. I guess ultimately, if you're Miles Bird or Magoon Guath, you're probably hoping to hear from someone. You got a chance to go in the first round. Because if you're have the potential of being a second round pick or mid to late second round pick, we still have eligibility. So if you come back, you might have a chance to improve your draft stock. Look at Nick Clifford at Colorado State. He's appearing as a lottery pick now on draft boards. He came back to Colorado State, went from a second-round pick to maybe a top 15, top 20 pick in this year's draft. So it'll be interesting to see Bird, Guath. I think if San Diego State keeps this roster together, that they will be the preseason favorite to win the Mountain West, and I think they'll be preseason top 25 in the AP poll to begin the year. And I think the expectation is going to be for this team to clearly win games in the NCAA tournament next year.
Oh, absolutely. I think to start out this team going into this year, if they retain Bird and Guath, they don't go to the NBA draft, I mean, sky's the limit for this team.
Yeah,
it really is.
Right, I agree.
Like you're thinking of some lofty goals here. I'm talking like Sweet 16, competing potential. I mean, who knows? But it almost feels like with the team they've assembled, knock on wood because of injuries and whatnot, Mountain West Conference regular season title, Mountain West Conference tournament title, making a run in the to at least the Sweet 16. Those are the type of goals I think this team will be setting for themselves next year. And I love that if that's the case.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So we'll see. Again, the transfer portal is open through tomorrow in men's basketball. It's open in college football right now as well. All right, Tigers lead the Padres 6-3. I feel as if Jim hasn't shared all of his thoughts as of yet on WrestleMania 41, nor has Brent. They can do that on the other side. I'll come back. And then we do have Jim's back page coming up as well. Stay with us, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Padres and Tigers, game 1 in Detroit. It's not going the Padres' way right now. They're trailing the Tigers 6-3 in the top of the 5th inning. 2 on, though. 2 outs, though, for the Padres. Luis Arraez went on the 7-day IL today. He's in concussion protocol. Mason McCoy was recalled to the active roster. And looking at the NBA playoffs happening right now, Pistons leading the Knicks 48-40 with 2:55 left in the first half. Knicks have a 1-0 series lead. Nuggets and Clippers, game 2 of their series tonight at 7 p.m. in Denver, with the Nuggets having a 1-0 series lead there. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com. That's progressive.com.
All right, so while you were speaking, the Padres, an RBI single from Oscar Gonzalez, but they ran into an out on the bases. But from 6-2 down to 6-4, and this game's only halfway done. So in the 5th, trailing 6-4.
Season saved?
Earlier, you had questioned if they could get to that elusive 4th or 5th run in this game, and they have remarkably done it with a big 2-run 5th to pull to within 6-4. So this thing isn't over. This consequential game tonight in Detroit, game 1 between the Padres and the Tigers. How are you feeling right now? The Padres scoring the last 2 runs in this game. You feel like they can do it?
Oh, man.
Have you ever seen a rally like this? 2 runs in 1 inning?
I believe, John.
It's a huge inning, right?
I believe. I think this team is going to I don't know, man.
They don't feel pressure.
They apply it.
Then that's what they did there in the top of the 5th inning, other than running into it out on the bases.
Do you still have that shirt?
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
Why are you wearing it?
I'm going to wait till Jackson Merrill returns.
Oh, I like that.
It's like a picture for Jackson Merrill.
It really is.
All right, Jim's back page is coming up in about 15 minutes. Do you want to talk about wrestling with Brent?
You're damn right I do.
Tell me when the segment ends. I'll be sitting right here. You guys chat.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You don't want to know what happened?
No, I'm listening.
But you want to be involved in the conversation?
No. What do you want me to be involved in?
All right.
This is a night after WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, the Raw after Mania is happening tonight.
The Raw after Mania is happening tonight.
Yeah, it's big Raw.
It's a big Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. So what have we met? Why were people saying last night it was mid-Mania?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask Brett. Brett, did you enjoy the 2 nights of WrestleMania? And are you on the side of it was one of the I've seen this take out there, one of the worst WrestleManias ever?
No, I didn't think it was that bad. There was a couple bits and pieces that I didn't like, but it wasn't anything that like ruined it. Was it as good as last year's? No, because it didn't have as much build up in a lot of the storylines as last year did. But no, I was entertained, and a couple little changes here and there, like, I don't know, maybe have The Rock come out instead of stupid Travis Scott. And I think a lot of the like bitching and complaining would have went away. Cause that was one of my biggest complaints, that and having Rusev tap out in like a second. But other than that, no, I didn't have a problem with it. Dirty Dom winning was awesome. Joe Hendry showing up when everyone thought it was just going to be Rusev. That was a nice surprise.
I believe in Joe Hendry, John.
Yeah,
I do too.
I thought it was overall a B. Like if I'm to grade it, I'd give it a B. A lot of people were very upset with it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought night 1, the main event saved the show, in my opinion. The main event was an all-time classic between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and with Paul Heyman in the background lurking, wondering what he was going to do. He ended up turning on CM Punk and Roman Reigns, John, and now he's aligned with Seth Rollins. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, great. So the main event of night 1, I thought really carried the show.
2 nights?
2 nights, yeah.
Okay.
I thought the opener with Jay, obviously one of the most predictable outcomes. Like he was going to win. I thought the finish wasn't what I would have chosen. I thought that Gunther tapped way too quickly.
Way too quick.
And I thought the LA Knight Jacob Fatu match was really good, predictable as well. If Jacob Fatu lost that match, that would have been bad for Jacob Fatu. He's going to lose that. He was going to win that match the whole time. Everything else, I didn't really care for.
I was happy New Day won because I liked heel New Day.
Yeah.
I was happy when they went back to being the bad New Day. So I was happy they won.
Again, night 1 main event carried the show. Night 2, I thought the show carried the main event. The main event felt with John Cena and Cody Rhodes. It felt like it left you wanting a lot more.
Well, it was a little underwhelming, but I think a lot of that was because, everyone was waiting, especially when, the ref went down. Everyone was waiting.
Here we go.
Everyone was waiting for all of a sudden, the final boss sort of, if you smell.
Well, when Travis Scott's music hit, I thought it was going to be exactly like Elimination Chamber when Travis Scott came out.
Rock would come
and
out.
then Rock come out right after that. But that didn't happen. I thought Cena had to win that match because if he didn't win.
Well, they gave it away. They ruined it before the match.
He was going to be on Pat McAfee.
Yeah, it's like they're not going to put him on McAfee the next morning if he lost.
I think now, going forward, Cody take time off. I think he should take at least a couple months off and not return until at least SummerSlam. That's what I think. Because you can't overdo him. You have to give him time off and make the fans want him back because he was getting booed last night. I saw that coming from a mile away. Cena's heel turn, to me, I loved it, but it's hard to envision him as a heel because he's been a babyface for 25 years. It's not as, again, he's going to need to do more, but overall, I thought night 2, the first 4 matches, banger after banger after banger after banger. It was like, okay, here we go. Didn't really care much for Becky Lynch returning. I knew that was going to happen, and it was kind of a blah match anyway.
I thought it was cool that she came back. I didn't think that they needed to have her win. She's above the tag titles in my
It's got to set
opinion.
up something. I mean, they're going to set up something because Bayley got screwed by getting out of that match. Didn't really bother me much. I thought, honestly, the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental title, like sleeper match of all of WrestleMania, in my opinion. The crowd was in it. Dom won. I picked Dom to win. I'm glad he won. They were behind him. Braun Baker is a beast, spearing Carlito through the table. Like, what? And then I thought the triple threat match between Bianca and Io and Rhea, that actually was like also one of the best matches of the weekend as well. So yeah, it was good. I think people were spoiled after last year with the ending. And so when you have literally like the best ending of all time, potentially, the only place you're going to be able to go is down from there.
Well, I'd say one thing, they're spoiled from all the run-ins in last year's main event. There were so many between, both the Usos, the Undertaker, the Rock.
It was the Avengers of WWE.
Yeah, there was so many run-ins to where this year, I think they were kind of expecting not to the same quantity, but I think they're expecting, at least the Rock and maybe one other person, not just Travis Scott.
Well, that's the thing is, if The Rock showed up and did what he was supposed to do, which is cost Cody the title, because Cena and Rock seemingly joined forces at Elimination Chamber with Travis Scott, I get that, but you need to have Rock there. If Rock showed up and, like you said, we were talking about this during the break, did kind of almost the same thing to Cody, I wouldn't want him to get a Crossroads, but like helping Cena win. If Travis Scott took the Crossroads while The Rock was helping Cena get the title and setting up Cody to get hit over the head, that's what needed to happen. And if that happened, it would have been viewed as one of the best WrestleManias of all time, except now everyone's pissed off at the ending, and now everyone's viewing it as one of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time, which I don't consider at all. Cena had to win. The right winner won. It's just how you got there. It needed The Rock. You needed The Rock, and I blame The Rock for not being there. How could you be a part of the storyline and then not show up in the most important storyline moment of what you're telling?
I know he better be making an awesome movie.
I know.
If he, bailed on WrestleMania for that, especially since he's a board member now.
Here's my question.
Oh, hi, John.
Hey, I'm surprised you
Here's
left
my
his mic on
question.
the whole segment.
Oh, did I? Is the bloodline over?
Yes.
Kind of.
What should we do about
No, it is over. There's no way it's not. Paul Heyman's gone. The Usos are gone. Sammy's not there anymore. Solo and
Yeah, but Solo's still with what's his name?
Jacob Fatu. Yeah,
Jacob, and Solo's contingent is still around.
Well, Solo's going to turn on Jacob and go after the U.S. title.
Well, eventually, yeah.
What's next for Braun Breaker?
I think Braun needs to be pushed for a world championship.
What other questions did ChatGPT tell you?
Yeah, what other questions you got? By the way, Mark in the chat, bro, the wrestling is too much. What else do you want us to talk about?
There's a lot. What about I'll give you the biggest story of the weekend, though. How about WWE buying either it's called AAA or AAA?
AAA.
And do you know what that is?
I don't think you do.
Yeah, they got a nice young roster of talent coming in.
Lucha Libres.
AAA.
I figured you're going to be like, yeah, it's those guys that come in to change your tire on the freeway.
No, I was going to say like the minor leagues, the major leagues. AAA. Well, it sounds. Here's what I'm guessing.
They're already saying they're going to change it. They might rebrand it to NXT Mexico. By the way,
here's my guess. It was probably. It sounds like it was great. Not as good as last year.
It was good.
I'm sure people watched.
It was good. I enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah.
I'm not like some people that like are losing their minds over it.
But that's how you are though with things. Like when it's your thing, like with Star Wars, you're never overly critical of Star Wars. You're not overly critical of WWE because you're like passionate about these things.
Well, I was overly critical of I already forgot it because I hate it so much. Episode
like
9, Brent, whatever episode.
Oh, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I did not like Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, that one sucked.
Well, it's the last movie they put out. But I've loved Mandalorian, albeit a couple episodes I didn't like. I'm going to try to get into Andor because I heard it's great. It took me a while. Season 2 comes out tomorrow. I think tonight, actually, at midnight. Am I right about that, Brent?
I don't know. I didn't like the first season. It was boring.
What else has been good?
Mark wants to know how this affects LeBron's legacy.
That's a great question, Mark.
How doesn't this affect LeBron's legacy?
I'm going to answer that on the other side.
All right, that's enough wrestling for the year. On the other side, Jim's back page. We are here until 6, Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 for a final time here until 6 p.m. We will have a wrap-up show for you tonight. Padres and Tigers underway in Detroit in the 6th inning. Detroit leading San Diego 6-4. Did the Padres lead in this game? They did it early, 1-0. But Detroit has led since. Randy Vasquez only made it out of 2 innings. It was 2+ innings of work for Randy Vasquez. Really labored. He threw a ton of pitches in 2+ innings. I think 68 pitches maybe in 2+ innings for Randy Vasquez. So now it's been the Padres bullpen trying to keep them in this game. It's 6-4 Detroit in the 6th. It's time. There's still time.
Hang around.
Bloop and a blast.
Yeah.
Put a runner on second in the 10th.
Easier said than done.
The bloop or the blast?
Probably the blast.
The blast is harder. Yeah.
The Gavin Sheets has a nice blast tonight.
It does. So 6-4 Tigers in the 6th. Right now, let's get to this.
All right, John. So it's a Monday. Did you know that?
That's good.
Well, it's also Crumble Day as well.
Okay.
Crumble cookies of the week, April 21st through the 26th. Here they are. Raspberry cheesecake. Yummy.
Mm-hmm.
Peanut butter cup cookie featuring Reese's.
Ooh, that's amazing.
A vanilla crumb cake featuring golden Oreos.
Okay.
I do like me some golden Oreos. A chocolate cookies and cream cookie.
That sounds good.
Confetti cookie.
Good.
And of course, a carrot cake, which is here all month long. Total calories, 1 million.
You ate them all? Dude. I wonder how many like crumble cookies could you eat? Because there's
dense.
A lot going on. They're dense. Exactly. It's like eating a lot of like Chicago pizza. Like you think you can do it until you're doing it.
Now, again, if I look at the amount of calories on a crumble cookie compared to a deep dish pizza, it's not going to compare. But you're right. You can't eat a deep dish pizza and be like,
yeah, you're not going to eat the
I want
pizza.
another one.
Yeah, exactly.
So
they do look good, man.
Yeah, they do.
Look at that website. Come on.
Yeah, if I can just like look at this here.
Are you looking for the calories?
Yeah. Here we go. Nutrition.
Yeah, that Reese's.
This peanut butter cup cookie featuring Reese's.
Yeah.
760 calories, 38 grams of fat.
Just one?
22 grams of hold on. The saturated fat, sorry. 55 grams of sugar, but also 11 grams of protein.
Oh, it's got protein. They make you stronger.
I need to find what the here we go. Hold on. Let me look at the chocolate cookie. All right. I want to see like here we go. Full nutrition. Wait, allow.
It's good radio.
Really is good radio. If it would show me it, like I clicked on it a second ago, does not show me it. Here we go. Nutrition. All right. 630 calories.
That's
the chocolate chip Oreo cookie. 45 grams of sugar, only 4 grams of protein.
It's practically healthy.
Basically, if you get a box of 6 of these cookies.
Right. It's like 6 times 700. That's 4,200 calories. And let's say 200 plus grams of fat.
And then about 50 to 60 grams of sugar per cookie. So that's what, 50 times 6?
300
grams of sugar.
I wouldn't eat 6 cookies in a sitting, is the way I look at it.
Dude.
Yeah.
I would
explode.
I would be hurting.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Diabetes be damned.
Right. Be hurting. Today, John, is Monday the 21st.
Right.
If you wear any hockey jersey today from 3 p.m. till close at a Chipotle, you get a buy one, get one on them.
In Vancouver, or is this here in San Diego too?
No, it's everywhere, John.
So from now through close at Chipotle, and they're open.
Yep, U.S. through Canada. So you get if you wear a hockey jersey, you get a buy one, get one of any item.
Does it have to be like authentic? Could it be like a jersey?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can I buy the jersey from overseas?
Sure. If you want to wear a a rip-off jersey, go ahead, do it.
Buy one, get one at Chipotle in a hockey jersey. Why? Because the hockey playoffs are underway?
Yeah. They're partners.
Okay, if they're partners, it makes sense. I was going to say, what about the NBA playoffs?
Well, it's
what?
Actually, the NHL is not a sponsor for this offer, so
just saying. Okay,
I guess they're just doing it.
Okay,
but it is
Chipotle
valid.
just loves hockey.
They just love hockey, I guess.
So weird.
It's available in the U.S. and Canada.
Okay,
so all of our Canadian listeners.
Oh, the Canadians are probably freaking out.
They're like, "Oh, this is great.
It's awesome." About half of these are free.
A
boot.
No, a boot. Half of them are free.
A boot. Half of them are free.
That's not how they talk at all.
Yeah, I'm not good with accents. I'm really not. Finally, John, listen to this. So if I could pull this up, every time I try to do this, my phone just like craps itself. All right, here we go. Sonic, John, is giving away 1 million $1 burgers this week. Sonic is coming through with the deal of the week, as their double Sonic Smasher is just $1 this week until 1 million of them are sold. The deal is redeemable through the Sonic Drive-In app, as you'll be granted a reward to use for the $1 burger. The deal will go through the entire week until 1 million of them are sold.
Okay.
It's a deal, dude.
It is a deal. It's going on right now?
I literally just said yes. It started today.
Is that all you have?
Yeah, give me 3 stories.
I got a back page for you.
Give me a back page story. Did we find more life on any other planets?
No, this is a true back page. The Cubs have traded for Drew Pomerantz. Like, wait, what?
Why?
Does he exist?
Why?
He was with the Mariners. He has not pitched in the big league since 2021. Drew Pomerantz will report to AAA Iowa. Drew Pomerantz is still playing baseball? That's the most back page thing ever. Did you know he was still playing?
No, nor did I care.
Exactly. It's like the back page.
I did not care that he was.
What'd you care more about? The Sonic Shake that you can get 1 million of or whatever?
No, you idiot. It's a burger.
I'm kidding. I'm just looking real quick. Has Pomerantz pitched the minor leagues this year?
Who cares?
He has.
Who cares?
Dude, 9 appearances in AAA Tacoma.
Okay.
This guy's about to be back in the big leagues for the first time since he was a Padre.
Where's the...
This is the lead tomorrow.
Apparently it will be.
Right. We will be back with you tomorrow at 2 p.m. More on the Padres and the Tigers. Padres are not going quietly into the Detroit night, Jim.
Gavin Sheets' jersey in the cart.
It's been so good.
Putting the team on his back, yo.
Batting in that 2-hole.
Yeah.
All season long, hitting homers, driving in runs. This is one of those nights, dude. If you would have told me whatever, they traveled through the night, they lost to Luis Arraez, and they just lose this game 8-2, I'd be like, yeah, makes sense. No Arraez, travel through the night.
This team is doing what we call battling.
Yeah, they're battling. They're battling.
They're battling, as the great Jace Tingler would say.
And they
battled.
They went down early 6-2, but they fought back to make it 6-4. And now they got the tying run at the plate.
Manny Machado. This is the moment where you're like, hey, if you need a bloop and a blast,
this could be the blast guy.
This could. You already had the bloop,
right?
Could you get the blast,
dude? This would be a nice win.
Well, you know he's not throwing him any pitch near the plate because Xander's up and he can't. You know,
Xander's in the on deck circle.
Yeah, Xander's allergic to driving in runs.
One of these days, Xander's going to make you pay.
I hope he does.
He's going to put on Instagram like,
I hope
at
he does.
Jim Russell SD.
Good.
I did this because of you.
Good. Do something.
I don't even know if
do
it's your handle on Instagram.
Do something. You don't know my handle?
Not on Instagram.
It's the same as my ex account.
At Jim Russell SD.
Oh, instead, double play. Great.
No, it's not. It's a force out. All right. Back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Join us tonight for a wrap-up show. We'll have it for you on YouTube. We'll recap this game one between the Padres and the Tigers. If you missed anything today, by the way, we had some really good conversations. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, was with us earlier. We'll see on Arraez. You know, is he going to be back in 7 days? He's on that 7-day concussion IL. It's possible that he'll be back at some point in a week. It could be longer because it's a head injury. So we'll wait on Arraez. Cynthia Frelund, good insight on the NFL draft. So if you missed that, you'll find it at sportssd.com. We also talked some SDFC with Sacha Klestan earlier in the show as well. All right, we are back tomorrow at 2 p.m. 4 full hours of Jon and Jim. If you missed anything, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. Back tomorrow at 2. Getting you ready for more Padres and Tigers. For Brent and Jim, I'm Jon. Keep it here. San Diego Sports 760.
Okay, bye.